New South Wales. More from Jack Hahn.
Emergency services rushed to the rural property, finding that a 9-year-old boy suffered a serious gunshot wound. Despite the medical expertise of paramedics, he could not be saved. Strike Force detectives have been investigating the incident ever since emergency services were called to the property in Wendelamar, south of Goulburn. Following inquiries all night, a 14-year-old boy and a 33-year-old man were arrested and taken to Goulburn Police Station. The 14-year-old boy has been charged with unauthorised possession of a firearm and has been granted bail. The 33-year-old man has been charged with 2 offences, including allowing an unauthorised person to possess a firearm and not keeping a firearm safely. They'll appear in court at later dates.
2 people are dead, a third fighting for life after a family drowning in central Queensland. 2 men aged 46 and 37 and a teenage boy were swept out to sea about 75 kilometres southeast of Gladstone. The bodies of the older man and boy were retrieved, the 37-year-old rescued and airlifted to hospital with critical head injuries. Confirmation today, students' math abilities are at an all-time low. Carolee Katsambanis with more.
The national report by the Grattan Institute is alarming, revealing 1/3 of Australian students lack proficiency in maths, regardless of socio-economics or family structure. Their maths abilities have been compromised over decades, the result of weird fads and unproven teaching methods that have failed to deliver results. SMH The Age reporting out of nearly 2,000 teachers surveyed, 1 in 4 lack confidence teaching grade 5 and 6 maths, with many expressing concern about their colleagues' abilities.
And Russian strikes have killed at least 34 people and injured dozens more. It marks the deadliest attack of the Ukraine conflict this year. US President Donald Trump's special envoy for Ukraine has condemned the attack, saying it crosses any line of decency. Turning to 5AA Sport.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Maddie. Port Adelaide has secured a hugely important win, beating Hawthorn by 30 points in the final match of Gather Round. The Power led by as much as 70 before holding on to secure their second win of the season. In yesterday's other games, GWS took care of St Kilda by 28 points, while Fremantle smashed Richmond by 61 points in the early game. Well, Oscar Piastri has won his second race of the season, winning the Bahrain Formula One Grand Prix. The Australian becoming the first multiple race winner of the season. George Russell was second, while Lando Norris came in third place. Let's go to golf. Rory McIlroy has bounced back from a shaky start and looks on track to secure his first ever green jacket at the US Masters. Starting the day with a 2-shot lead over Bryson DeChambeau, he found himself behind after 2 holes, thanks largely to a double bogey on the first, but he's now 3 shots clear, approaching the back 9. Jason Day is the best of the Aussies. He's 6 shots back. Well, Liverpool has one hand on the English Premier League trophy following a dramatic 2-1 win at home against West Ham. Scores were locked at 1-1 until a goal in the 89th minute came from their captain from a corner.
And again from McAllister. Van Dijk! Liverpool are on the verge.
Audio there thanks to Optus. That result sees the Reds stretch their lead to 13 points at the top of the table. There's only 6 games to play for the season. In other results, Newcastle jumped up to 4th after thumping Manchester United 4-1. Chelsea slipped up with a 2-2 draw at home against Ipswich, while Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham lost again, this time to Wolverhampton 4-2. And Alex Volkanovski has bounced back from consecutive losses to win the UFC featherweight title. That was by unanimous decision over Diego Lopez. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA forecast.
Hop into Macca's for their classic fruit hot cross bun with warm, melty butter. Available for a limited time.
Mostly sunny 34 today, then partly cloudy days through to Thursday, a top of around 32. Right now, it's 23. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Imagine waking up in a home designed for luxury living, where every day brings the opportunity for a morning swim, state-of-the-art wellness amenities, and evenings spent with friends. Retirement isn't about slowing down, it's about living on your own terms. Living Choice has created luxury homes with premium resort-style amenities and a community of like-minded individuals who believe retirement is about living life to the fullest. Make your choice. Living Choice. Go to livingchoice.com.au.
Hi, Brett Ebert here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. There's a lot to like about Mawson Lakes Mazda. They'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. And your breakfast or lunch is on them. Your car gets the love too with their state-of-the-art service centre, brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, they'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
You don't just do a good barbie, you're the tong master. You're not just flipping snags, you've earned the title Backyard Hospitality Director. So you deserve the very best outdoor kitchen from Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens.
Choose from the best appliances, add a bar fridge or a pizza oven, or stun your guests with one of their custom-made concrete bench tops. They do indoor concrete bench tops too. They're fantastic. These handmade bench tops can really update any kitchen, custom-made for you. Every piece is unique, especially for you.
Call for a consultation and quote today or visit the Seaford Meadows showroom on Farrow Circuit. The best backyard hospitality directors choose Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens. Go to adelaideoutdoorkitchens.com.au.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years, but one thing remains unchanged. Our passion to help people invest in their future, to build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Transform your outdoor space and turn it into a great year-round entertainment area with an opening and closing roof from Louver House. Our Louver House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight, so you can entertain no matter the weather. Best of all, they're manufactured right here in SA with rain sensors and options like LED lighting. Find out more with a free design measure and quote. See the light with Louver House. louverhouse.com.au.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
9 minutes after 6, good morning to you and welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast. Monday ahead of Easter next weekend. We're building up all this week, taking the show on the road again, off to the Central Markets on Thursday morning. Very much looking forward to that. In the afterglow of what was a hugely successful gather round in SA, we'll be chatting with the Premier about the wash-up, what it means for the future, what the numbers told us about what the patronage was like this time. It looked spectacular. I got to say, the games in the Barossa looked absolutely spectacular. We'll be chatting with him before 8 o'clock this morning. We've got the Lord Mayor on the program. Gee, how do you describe the last few days for the City Council?
Crikey.
Crikey might be just the best word for it, actually. We'll talk about all that after 8:30 today. Stacey Lee will join us on 5AA Breakfast. We'll take you on the election campaign trail as well. Lots on housing announced over the weekend, and we're off to the US. Katy Perry is heading to space. It's not to shoot a music video, I think. It's just to go to space. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. Yeah, the amazing disappearing Adelaide City Council, formerly 12 members, now 8 members, 4 of them for the high jump as a result of the overseas student voting scandal. Wasn't really a surprising judgment, though, was it?
Well, no, because, you can't have people elected. The credibility of that election was shot to pieces.
Mm.
But what does it mean now going forward? Is it do they have to re-elect the Central Ward?
It sounds like they're going to have a by-election. So for the entire Central Ward, they're going to have basically rehold the City Council.
I don't want to be a cynic, but what do you reckon the turnout for a local government by-election would be?
Well,
or do you think maybe in this case it might be massive because of the focus that's been on?
Depends how many overseas students they can line up, I guess. There'll be people walking up and down Curry Street in front of all those ugly 20-storey buildings saying, roll up, it's election time again.
Well, this was the reason, wasn't it, in the first place? I'm just thinking, for those of our listeners who got gather-round fever over the weekend and didn't concern themselves with matters of the City Council, they were struck from the record. They were struck out effectively because the election was ruled improper because of the international students being signed up.
People acting on behalf of soon-to-be officially former councillor Jing Lee were out getting forms and filling them in on behalf of overseas students. They had their names and their addresses. It's such a flimsy system, isn't it, that people aren't even Australian citizens. It's just because they've arrived from wherever, well, in this case, China.
They're considered residents of the city.
Yeah. They're allowed to vote. And I don't know if the loophole is going to... Actually, no, the loophole will not be closed in time to change that law before the by-election.
Well, that's ludicrous.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because it was Frank Pangello's brought the bill. It's only passed the upper house, though. Anyway, gather round yet again. What a success. Port fans will be like walking on a cloud this morning after that game. Unbelievable game of football. Like, is it fair to describe Crows supporters as neutrals watching that game?
No, not at all. I wouldn't have thought.
There's a bit of barracking for Hawthorn going on in that last quarter. But, okay, watching it in a semi-detached kind of way, though, that game was... There was so much feeling in it. Like, it was just full on.
I thought Port was so dominant and so brutal in that first half that it killed off any of the potential. Yeah. Like, it sucked the life out of the whole retribution game and revenge game from Hawthorn. It just killed it.
Yeah.
Like, that first half, to me, if you're a real footy sicko, you'll know what my analogy here. The start of every season, all the clubs stream their internal trial. You know, it'll be like Crows blue versus Crows yellow. And every club does it. And I always sit down and watch it because I'm always interested in what are the draft picks, what do the young guys look like, you know, who's looking good, who's come back from surgery, whatever. And within 2 minutes you go, oh, this is unwatchable because one side is so much better than the other one.
Yeah.
They can't string two kicks together. The pressure's not at the same level. It just becomes quite obvious really quickly that this is that's how that game felt. Port at home against Hawthorn, who were a lot of people's premiership fancy early this season.
It was just bizarre.
They won't be after that. It felt like a mismatch.
I didn't watch the second quarter and I came back out. Well, I watched about 5 minutes of it right at the end. When I came out, I went, what? It's like they're going to kick 100 points before Hawthorn kick 2 goals. It's just extraordinary. But setting aside the game, because we'll get into that with Tom later on, Adelaide Oval just looked absolutely spectacular for all the games. Collingwood Sydney on Friday, that just looked unbelievable. Mates of mine went and said the atmosphere was just something else. The hill looked fantastic, barely an empty seat in any of the stands. But what you said, Will, about the Barossa, how good did the Barossa look? Did any of our listeners, who went to the Barossa? I'd like to hear about the Barossa because it looked fantastic. And what an enduring asset for not just the people of Lyndoch, but all the towns in the Barossa that play football. That is the venue they deserve. And with more girls playing football now too.
I reckon that was the first time. So they've gathered around for 3 years now. That was watching those games on the Saturday, the game in the Barossa on the Saturday was the first time I thought I really stuffed up not getting organised enough this year to get to that.
Yeah,
I had this total FOMO.
Yeah.
Because I started thinking, what does your day look like? So maybe you stay the night over there so you don't have to get up early.
Totally.
Maybe you go and maybe have a breakfast somewhere. Maybe afterwards you go to a winery.
Or just go to the bakery.
There'll be an event. You go to the bakery.
Go to the Lyndoch Bakery.
It's a perfect weekend.
Yeah, it is.
A bit of footy in the middle of it. Well played all. That was just superb. The Premier, as we say, coming up a little bit later. 15 minutes after 6, we're going to take a break. News headlines coming up next.
Do you have Coles Plus Saver? You can get 10% off one in-store or online shop every calendar month. Plus double Flybuys points on every shop. Plus, it's only $7 a month. Join Coles Plus Saver and link your Flybuys. Limits, exclusions and T's and C's apply.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Experience the magic of Barossa at the 2025 Vintage Festival, April 23 to 27. Get ready for over 85 events, including long lunches, exclusive tastings, live music, art and heritage experiences. Feel the excitement of bidding at Zygon Market, test your skills at the Grape Stomp, run around the vines of Lyndoch, or discover new events Barossa Big Sing and Club Vintage. The Barossa invites you to come and celebrate Vintage 2025 with us. Tickets are selling fast. Go to barossavintagefestival.com.au.
Right. Right Price, Adelaide's best in heating and cooling, has risen to new heights. Literally, Right Price are now your roofing people too. Same exceptional service, value and quality. From total roof replacement, including tiled roof installation, to tile roof repairs, cleaning and painting. And for peace of mind, a rock-solid quote. So the only surprise you'll get is how magnificent your roof and home looks. Do it right. Visit rightpriceroofing.com.au.
You can get your roof right at Right Price.
Now, one thing you won't find at Rosino Outdoor Furniture is boring. Rosino's home to Rosino Outdoor Furniture, that is home to designer style without the designer price tag, and that means you get great outdoor furniture without spending a bomb.
If you're looking for an outdoor lounge or extra dining chairs for entertaining, maybe something that'll finish off the look of your outdoor area, well, Rosino Outdoor, they have it all. Fire pits, outdoor cushions, rugs, vases, artwork and more. Perfect for making your outdoor home stylish, comfortable and uniquely yours.
And it's not just about looks. Rosino Furniture is built to last. Now's the perfect time to visit their brand new store at West Lakes Mall, next to Kmart. They're clearing ex-demo and brand new stock to make space, so you'll find some incredible deals right now, like pots and vases from just $5.
Don't miss out. Pop into Rosino and razz up your outdoor area today. Visit the new Rosino Outdoor Store at Westlake Shopping Mall next to Kmart, or visit rosinofurniture.com.au.
Mario Maiola Promotions and 5AA present Blowin' in the Wind, honouring Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Bob Dylan with friends Johnny Cash, Joan Baez and the Travelling Wilburys. Come celebrate the legends who contributed to cultural change through inspired lyrics and songs of revolution with an amazing cast. The times they're a-changing, folks, so don't think twice because it's all right. Blowin' in the Wind, Her Majesty's Theatre, Friday 23rd of May. Book now at Ticketek.
Sharman Shelving isn't just for business and affordable van fit-outs. Sharman Shelving can transform your garage too. Their Aussie Tough steel shelving, workbenches and cupboards look great and are built to last. Every time your garage door opens, you'll be bursting with pride at how good it looks. Sharman, don't you love them? Call Sharman Shelving and get George or Bill to swing by for a free measuring quote. Check out sharmanshelving.com.au, follow on Facebook or take a look on Instagram.
Your baby or toddler loves interacting with you. And with up to 85% of brain development occurring during the first 3 years, talking, playing, reading and singing are the best ways to help grow their minds. For more information, visit wordsgrowminds.org.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
90 minutes after 6, news headlines on this Monday, the 14th of April. This is a bit of a warning for those exposed on the share market. The Australian share market likely hasn't fallen to its lowest level. Shares plummeted on the back of Donald Trump's tariffs. They rebounded after some of them were delayed last week for 90 days. Economists are now saying here in Australia it's too soon to say if we've seen the low point. There have been developments overnight. I've been following this overnight. So over the weekend, the US started to exempt electronic products, mainly at the behest of Apple.
iPhones and what have you.
iPhones and the components for making iPhones and whatnot.
Which are all made in China.
And then Howard Lutnick went on Fox Business this morning and said, well, there's no exemption. And everyone went, what? And then Trump said, well, he's tweeted on Truth Social, there's sort of an exemption. They're going to be subject to a different tariff that's now on semiconductor. Like, this, let's go through what's happened in the last 7 days, right? 7 days. There was, 7 days ago, universal reciprocal tariffs. Then there was a removal, and there was a back down to everyone got a 10% tariff unless you were China, Canada or Mexico. You went to 10%. Then there was 50% on China. Then there was 90% on China. Then there was 104% on China. Then there was 125% on China. Then there was 145% on China. Then there was a exemption for electronics, and now there's probably not an exemption for electronics for that long. Like, good luck as a business trying to invest in this nut job environment.
It's demented. It's just completely off the charts, bonkers bananas. Elon's right.
Elon is 100% right on this. That's why he's out of the tent.
But when you describe all of that, because as you were talking, I was thinking, last I heard the tariff on China was 125. Is it still 125?
145.
145, okay. Like, you know, you take your eye off the ball for an hour with US politics and it's a completely different world.
So could you imagine running a big business? trying to make plans and investments, and good luck to you.
Demented.
The Australian Medical Association is calling for a sugar tax on soft drinks. Here we go.
Yes.
So do they just get to a quiet Monday occasion and go, you know what we need to do is wheel out the sugar tax?
And just in time for Easter.
Yeah, of course.
What a bunch of misery guts.
Yeah. Modelling suggests the excise would bring down sugar consumption by 2 kilograms per person. Well, I mean, only if you...
2 kilograms per person?
Well, that's probably only...
Seriously?
It's probably 2 cans of drink. It only brings it down, by the way, this is the most... you talk about regressive taxes. Brings it down for people who aren't well off.
Yeah.
So if you want to make sure that the only people that can't afford to enjoy sweet treats and drinks are people that are struggling otherwise, anyway, well, good on you. Put a tax on it.
That's right, because everyone else is going to the Africola lunch restaurant on the parade to get their sprouted lentil salads for lunch at $15 a pack.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at the Nollunga Centre, like, let's tax these people. They're drinking soft drinks.
Exactly.
Well, what Australia really needs is another tax, though, don't you think, as a general principle? Not enough taxes.
We might need it based on the spending out of the weekend. We're going to talk about that after 7 o'clock
They're
this
having
morning.
a crack, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. They're having a crack, all right.
The $10 billion head-to-head Mexican standoff.
A dark purple plum bred in Queensland might hold the key to delaying or even preventing dementia. The Queen Garnet plum, you familiar with this?
No.
Contains high levels of a compound found to have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. University of Wollongong's Associate Professor Karen Charlton says early trials are showing promising results.
We were very interested to learn that the Queen Garnet plum has been bred especially to have high levels of these protective compounds called anthocyanins.
Did not know that about the humble plum.
I love when it's my favourite area of medical discovery is routine or mundane run-of-the-mill stuff that exists in nature that actually can somehow is beneficial. Like, we found this particular coral that grows at the bottom of the ocean that actually helps diabetes. It's incredible. I love that kind of stuff. It's just incredible.
There's a woman called Peter B who writes for the Times, but they run her pieces in the Australian as well. She's a health writer, health and exercise, and it's all aimed at people over 50. And I've suddenly found myself, every time one of her articles pops up, I'm like, ooh. And I've changed my diet a bit as a result of reading her articles, and just things like, it's actually true, eating yogurt every day makes you feel 10 times better. And having one banana, like a banana is your friend for digestion, and like a small handful of blueberries gives you some vitamin that, so all of these things, it's actually not too hard to change your diet.
Well,
in a fun way.
You have to take out a second mortgage for blueberries these days.
Well, no, it depends if they're in season or not. And you can always buy them frozen. Well, you don't need
That's
many.
true. You can get them frozen.
You only need a tablespoon.
Oh, my daughter goes through a punnet of blueberries in about 3.5 minutes, and it's bankrupting me.
Yeah, well, when they're in season, you can get them for like $1.99. But occasionally, like, I look at them and go, ooh, they're $9.
Yeah.
But it's at Rosie's age, it's really hard to say, no, we can't get them.
You can't say.
You're going to have to get a third job, Will.
She's the only one who says no. In our household, she says a lot. It's one of her favourite words.
You have to start doing a column for the papers, too.
Dick Smith has thrown out the challenge to find the first person to fly an electric aircraft from England to Australia. He's putting up a $22,000 sculpture as a prize. I don't know what you do with the sculpture. That's a peculiar prize.
Wow.
Good luck to anyone who achieves the feat. 22.8 degrees outside of the city at the moment. Warmest of all the capital cities in Australia this morning, except Darwin. Top of 34 today. What a weekend weather-wise. It was summer again. And it will feel like that for the start of this week. 32 Tuesday, 32 Wednesday, 31 Thursday. It drops down to 29 on Good Friday. And then for Easter Saturday and Sunday, we might get some rain. In fact, let's be positive about it. We're going to get some rain. 23 the top on Saturday, shower or two, up to 4 mils of rain, and Sunday 20 and up to 2 mils of rain. So let's hope we get as much of that as possible, and more importantly, let's hope it gets to the areas that most desperately need it. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. What a weekend in sport. There's plenty to talk about, Rennie. All thanks to the great people at Agostino Mitsubishi, who got renos happening at the moment, so they want to get some stock out of their showroom. That means there's a clearance sale on now, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes. Morning to you, Tom.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. What an incredible weekend it was. And look, we'll go with the winners and losers. From a sporting perspective, Port Adelaide last night, wow. When they turn it on like that, you sort of say, where's that been all season? They were breathtakingly good over by, midway through the second quarter. And when they're a bit in your face and they're playing with that aggression and Zach Butters is there, that's why he's so important to keep. He was just magnificent. And the move to put Connor Rosie across half back, it was inspired, wasn't it?
It was fantastic.
He looks suited there, I think. Such a good user, so much pace.
Given how much flack Ken's copped as well, it was a
good win.
Coach's victory too.
It was.
To do that.
Yeah, they needed something, didn't they? And they've
been nothing other than a bad story since round one,
hasn't it?
It was just bizarre. I was like, what?
I know, and the game had plenty of sort of fire starter moments, didn't it? With the double goal to Rioli in the last quarter when he showed the ball to Mabwai Chol. I mean, there was just that niggle in the game. It was a great way to finish it. In fact, let's give South Australia just the whole gather round experience. Look, they're clearly just negotiating terms. You cannot take it out of SA after what we've seen over this week.
Let's see. We've got the Premier coming on at 10 to 8 about that.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by the language he keeps using. That I'm getting the best deal for South Australia.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's got to be careful that we'll get into this later, but he can't just say to the AFL, we want to keep it and here's a blank cheque. The AFL need to pull their heads in a little bit for how much money they're trying to get out of us, I think.
He might be at a point where he's saying to them, listen, this is not a one-way street.
Totally.
You guys are getting plenty out of this deal. Yeah. It's pretty obvious now.
And I think we probably played overs to get it, which was understandable for the first few years, but, you'll go into it with him. But I think you're right. I think now we can say, well, take it somewhere else at your own peril.
Correct.
I would think, given the crowds and everything. But amazing weekend. Well done to all the fans and all the restaurants, everything. It was just great. Oscar Piastri, he did this overnight, Will, which was absolutely sensational.
Piastri sees the checkered flag first. Oscar Piastri wins the Bahrain Grand Prix for just his 4th win in Formula One.
If it wasn't for Melbourne, he's leading the Drivers' Championship right now.
Comfortably. He's had 3 podiums.
Melbourne's got a lot to answer for, hasn't it?
Don't they? So two wins and 3 podiums since that result. He's only 3 points behind Lando Norris at the top of the tree. He's flying, so great result. Jack Doohan back in 14th. Adelaide Thunderbirds had another win. Liverpool won overnight. They're going to win the EPL by the length of the straight. Rory McIlroy, 11 years since he's won a major. He's 4 shots clear with 8 holes to play at the Masters. If he wins, he'll have the career Grand Slam, which is the one thing that's eluded him. So he will have won every major. He was two up at the start of the day, double bogeyed the first, and then was 1 behind after 2. I think everyone thought, this is the choke, this is it. And he has been unreal since, so he should win. The Thunderbirds I mentioned. Losers, Melbourne, they're horrific in the AFL. Tottenham, Ange Postecoglou lost again, and generally, for me at least anyway, and I think most people, sleep. I had 0 sleep on the weekend.
Oh, yeah. What are you running at, do you reckon?
I had 3 hours yesterday afternoon, but I reckon I had probably 6 hours in the 3 nights prior to that. I was on fear. I did a cross with Alex Carey yesterday, and he said, do you mind if I post it? I said, no, that's fine. So he had he's 2 nights ago not to just do it, but there was a little seat out at Norwood before I crossed 5 minutes before on. I was out of it. Like dead to the world.
Where were you sleeping?
Just at the Norwood Fan Zone Centre, just in front of
a chair.
Yeah, in a chair, just in front of the big screen, out to it. Like I was.
Oh, that's
excellent, mate. Legendary commitment to your craft.
You got to suffer for your art, don't you, Stom?
I was in a coma.
Get on, you ready? Sport coma.
Yeah,
excellent.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny, 34 today with the 6:30 news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Make RAA-approved windscreen repairer Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. Visit completewindscreens.com.au.
The state government says it's holding out for a deal that's right for the state on hosting Gather Round into the future. The 3rd successful event ended last night with Port's thumping 30-point win over Hawthorn. Premier Peter Malinauskas says he's in talks with the AFL to take the event far beyond 2026.
We wouldn't mind a bit more certainty than just 1 or 2 years. Well, I think we need longevity. That allows us to invest and plan and maximise the economic benefit, which is better for everyone.
An investigation's underway into the death of a 9-year-old boy in New South Wales. The young boy suffered serious neck injuries when a gun was accidentally discharged near Goulburn. He was treated by paramedics but died at the scene. 2 people have been charged, police treating the shooting as accidental. Labor and the Coalition have spent another $24 billion as each tries to shore up voter support ahead of next month's federal election. Despite the cash splash on housing measures and tax incentives. The latest news poll shows a hung parliament still likely. The survey showing the primary vote for both major parties remains weak, but after preferences, Labor edges ahead with a 4-point lead over the coalition. The poll showing Anthony Albanese has also opened a commanding lead over Peter Dutton as preferred PM. Advocates say housing announcements from both sides of politics don't do enough to support low-income earners. Labor and the coalition promising policies aimed at making it easier for first-home buyers to get into the market. But Community Housing Industry Association CEO Wendy Haythurst says the measures don't mean much for people who are a long way from buying a home.
For people on lower income, generally people that really can't afford to buy a house anytime soon. So neither of the policies is really focused on that group.
About 21% of primary school teachers are concerned about teaching mathematics over any other subject. A survey from the Grattan Institute also shows 1 in 3 students failing to achieve proficiency standards in math. A dark purple plum bred in Queensland might just hold the key to delaying or even preventing dementia. The Queen Garnet plum contains high levels of a compound found to have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Uni of Wollongong Associate Professor Karen Charlton says early trials are showing promising results.
We were very interested to learn that the Queen Garnet plum has been bred especially to have high levels of these protective compounds called anthocyanins.
The Australian Medical Association is pushing for the next federal government to impose a tax on soft drinks. The body says the excise would help slow a surge in chronic diseases linked to sugar-filled beverages. And crowds have been sent into panic at the Coachella Music Festival in California after a rogue firework went off course. The pyrotechnic blasted into the crowd at the end of Green Day's headline set, exploding and setting a palm tree ablaze. No injuries have been reported. In the Ukraine, at least 34 people have been killed in Russian strikes. The attack, the deadliest on civilians this year. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky accusing Russia of ignoring a US ceasefire proposal. Turning to 5AA Sport.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And good morning to you as well, Matty. We're going to start with footy. Port Adelaide Vice-Captain Zach Butters has put in a best on-ground performance to help Port to an upset 30-point win against Hawthorn to round out Gather Round at Adelaide Oval. Butters was at his best and was often fired up and in the face of his opponents, and he says that's the way he likes to play.
Yeah, it gets me into the game as well and really brings out my competitive nature. So, yeah, I often get told off by Mum and Kenny and a few others and all you coaches at the club, but, yeah, sometimes it's just like backing up my teammates and, yeah, it gets me into the game.
Audio there thanks to Fox. There were 2 other games to wrap up round 5 with GWS 28-point winners against St Kilda, while Fremantle thumped Richmond by 61 points. Well, Rory McIlroy's charging towards his first green jacket at the US Masters. He started the day with a 2-shot lead before finding himself a shot down after 2 holes. But he's since recovered and has gone on a birdie blitz, including this one at the 10th hole.
McIlroy pours it in.
Audio there thanks to Fox. He's now 4 shots clear of Englishman Justin Rose. Aussie Oscar Piastri has won his second race of the season after taking out the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Piastri sees a checkered flag first. Oscar Piastri wins the Bahrain Grand Prix for just his 4th win in Formula One.
Audio thanks to Fox. George Russell was second, Lando Norris third, while Aussie Jack Doohan finished back in 14th place. Alex Volkanovski has bounced back from consecutive losses to win the UFC featherweight title by unanimous decision over Diego Lopez. The Aussie telling main event he sees the adversity as a privilege.
Well, it's an opportunity. You get adversity. If you build yourself back, it's only going to make you stronger, even if it doesn't work out. But a lot of times it does, if you really pursue it. And look what can happen.
Plenty happening, Matty. That is the 5AA Sport.
Anya, ready now, 5AA's forecast.
Head to Macca's for their classic fruit hot cross bun with warm, melty butter. Available for a limited time.
Mostly sunny, 34, then partly cloudy days through to Thursday. Temps around 32. Right now it is 23, 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes to 7. Police and weather coming up this half hour. Off to the US before 7 o'clock. Then after 7, we're going to get into what was a really busy full weekend on the federal political landscape with two major housing policies by the major parties announced, the detail provided. We're going to get into that after 7 o'clock. This feels... I feel like if we're going to bag Donald Trump's economic management, I feel some stern words are required for our major political parties out of the weekend, but we'll get into that after 7 o'clock this morning. Want to know the time, folks, where you competed against someone great and were beaten? When did you compete against someone great and you were beaten? Or who did you come second best to?
Mark Woodford.
I was going to say Mark Woodford, but you took games off him, didn't you?
No, one game.
8223 0000. We have
6-1. Will
6-1.
It was 6-love 6-1.
Yeah, this guy won multiple
straight sets,
Grand Slam titles. Now, a carton of Kyneton's hot cross buns. Do you know how many hot cross buns in a carton?
12.
54.
What?
54.
54?
You could start your own hot cross bun shop if you win this prize. Kyneton's baking delicious award-winning hot cross buns for Easter goodness. kyntonsbakery.com.au for their range and stockists.
I love their hot cross buns.
Did you compete and come and get beaten by someone great? You know the reason we ask? And it's a shame the way we talk about sport sometimes, because all the focus on the weekend, rightfully so, was on Gout at the Australian Athletics Championships. Now, he ran a sub-20-second time in the 200-metre final, broke the Australian record, wind-assisted, but he's 17 years old. His legend continues to grow here, doing things that no one else has done. In that race, a bloke by the name of Aidan Murphy came second. I want to talk to him about him after we just play you a bit of that 200-metre win.
Yes, we're away the third time of asking. He sat in the blocks a little bit longer, though. Gout did not want to tempt fate. He gets up on Oos. He's out there a little bit wider now, is Aidan Murphy, but here comes Gout. We knew we'd see this in the final 50, so let's watch the young superstar rise. He's flying. He will be Gout of this universe. Unbelievable, 2.2. It won't count in terms of a record, but what it will do is says, hey world, this is me.
So Gout the story. He won by it looked like about 25 metres to Aidan Murphy, who in second, who himself probably won by about 5 or 6 metres to the rest of the field. Like he was second by a long way. Now, the reason we're going to focus on Aidan Murphy, there is a bloke who's worked at FIVEAA for probably more than half the time I've been on this planet, called Mark Murphy. He cuts the audio. He does wonderful work in
he's a great
ads together. He's one of the politest and loveliest, unassuming guys you'll ever meet in your entire life. He goes to his booth. He does his work. He's just magnificent, Murph. His son is Aidan Murphy. His son. And I was looking, his time was 20.4. 20.4, Aidan Murphy ran it in. So the magical 20-second mark that, no one's broken, he ran one of the fastest times that any Australian has ever run over 200 metres.
Yeah.
But he just happened to be in a race with this bloke who might end up being one of the greatest to ever have done it.
It's like being a really good leg spinner when Shane Warne's in the team.
Stuart McGill.
Well, exactly.
Stuart McGill lived that, probably.
He did.
To some extent. So who did you compete against and who were you bested by? 8223 0000. Let us know. Do you have a story like that where you just... Maybe you were never in the race, but maybe you got to share the field. Maybe it wasn't sport. Maybe it was work. Maybe it was...
It is unfair, isn't it? And maybe it's because we're so good at sport as a nation. But winning silver, it's sort of
ridiculous.
It's regarded as losing by some people, isn't it?
It is so cool.
Oh, so you didn't win. Well, no, I won silver.
Well, think about, is the second best player in the AFL ever considered a loser?
Yeah.
What about the second best cricketer in the world? Or the second best basketball? Like, these guys will be on... You're talking about the biggest names on... The second best soccer player in the world. Like...
Yeah.
It's ludicrous.
Yeah, that's right. There's no shame being Mbappe, is there, when you're not quite as good as Messi.
That's right. But if it was the Olympics, we'd go, geez, who won silver at the 100 metres?
No one remembers.
No one has a clue.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's
so nice that it's Murph's son. Murph is the best player. Years ago, our kids had my daughter, she had her schoolings week down at our place at Aldinga, and some of the parents were a bit antsy, going, oh, what if there's a drama? I'm like, kids will sort it out for themselves. They know how to get how to get an Uber to Noongar Hospital. That was decreed too reckless an approach by me. So in the end, Kate and I stayed down there in an Airbnb, and I just jumped on the website, found a house, booked it, and then I saw Murph at work that week, and he goes, "Hey, Bimbo, so you're staying at my house on the weekend?" And I went, "What?" But yeah, I ended up staying at his place.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
amazing.
It was hilarious. He tried to give me a discount. I was like, "No, mate, you know, I don't want mates rates." But he's just the world's nicest guy, and he must be a very proud dad today.
Let us know, 8223 your story of maybe a time you came second or just beaten by greatness. Peter in Hillbank is on the line. Morning to you, Peter.
Yeah, good morning. My situation was we were on a cruise holiday for our honeymoon, and we went on. I entered what they called the Solstice Olympics, and it was actually a basketball competition. And we started out with about 30 people, and I got through to the top two, and it was a shootout, and we probably had about 4 or 5 misses each, and then the other fella was successful, and I came second.
Oh,
well done, mate.
Peter, that's not bad, though. What was the prize on the cruise ship?
I think it was like a keychain or something.
A diamond set memento from Bruce and Walsh.
Well, Peter, bigger prize here on the line. You are currently in pole position when it comes to the Kytons Hot Cross Bun giveaway. 54 hot cross buns could be yours. Let us know, folks, your story of coming second.
Good text here from our good mate Rob. He says, I do a lot of things that are wind assisted, but they probably don't count.
Oh, that's the thing about wind assistance. It means they don't count.
Exactly.
Good on you, Rob. 8223 You can text us on the Police Home Care text line as well. 0480 08 1395.
Suzanne sent in a lovely photograph of her grandson Max, saying this photo says it all. It's a picture of Max. He's got his Essendon gear on. Suzanne says he lives in Adelaide, but his team is Essendon, and he got to be up close and personal with the players he so admires. Very proud to be a South Aussie after gather round.
It is nice to see all the kids that get out and get to see the team and players train. And
except for the ones at South Adelaide, because Geelong are a miserable pack.
Yeah. Can we do gather round next year with Geelong not invited?
Yeah, let's just not invite
Someone
them.
just gets the bye.
Do you reckon Crows fans are a bit off gather round now?
Yeah, I'm ready for it to be moved on. Over to you, Perth.
We'll really get into Mally about what a waste of money that was. What a disgrace. What about the public hospitals? It's like a private party for Port fans.
All right, let's check traffic, police and weather coming up in just a moment. When you cover things, they last longer. The same goes for you. Be sun smart and check UV levels daily.
Thanks, Will, and morning, David. Couple of best waterways to look out for this morning. One at Fleeters Park Range Road just before Holbrooks Road. Another one at Hilton, so Donald Rabbit Drive near South Road. Speeds are pretty slow through there at the moment too. At Norwood, the parade is closed as they pack down Gather Round. That's closed between Osmond Terrace and Port Rush Road, and getting busy South Road at Clovelly Park. Early morning camera this morning, Trimmer Parade at Seaton. Final boarding call for Flight Centre's Fiji Airways sale. Flight Adelaide to Fiji return from just $665. Don't miss out. Book online or in store with Flight Centre today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The money for Peter Dutton's $600 billion nuclear plan has to come from somewhere. So, 20 years to build to make up under 4% of the grid, and the CSIRO says it will drive up power bills. And he'll have to drive up the cost of everything else to pay for it. So under Dutton, your health costs go up. Under Dutton, your tax goes up. Under Dutton, your HECS debt, childcare, medicines, TAFE fees go up. He cuts, you pay.
Authorised P. Erickson, ALP Canberra.
G'day, it's Ben from BJ Energy. I'm in the solar and battery industry. Obviously, a lot of the bulk sale companies will preference the cheapest materials they can get their hands on. The materials we use have been around for a long time. They're very reputable companies. They all have offices in Australia, so you know you have that extra level of support. At BJ Energy, we don't have a room full of slick salespeople. We're a small, passionate South Australian team, and we're all about delivering the best outcome for you. So get in touch with us at bjenergy.com.au.
Are you looking for the perfect day trip? A place that caters for groups? A place that can offer set price lunches, including a hot Dutch lunch, coffee or tea and a slice of homemade cake?
The Netherlands, perfect for a day trip. And look, when I say Netherlands, what I'm talking about is the Dutch Pantry in Klemzig. It's like a little Dutch village where you'll find authentic Dutch products, fresh produce, freshly baked cakes, and a cafe bursting with delicious meals for brekkie, brunch or lunch.
If you're a coordinator or a carer looking for new experiences for a group, give Ange a call and ask her about her set menu options.
And while you're there, take a leisurely stroll past the windmill, admire the tulips and the collection of Delft Blue. Experience the Netherlands right here in SA at the Dutch Pantry located on OG Road, Klemzig.
The Dutch Pantry, just look for the big windmill.
Is your bloated belly making you feel fat and miserable? Introducing new Caruso's Bloaties. Caruso's Bloaties contains peppermint and ginger, which are traditionally used in Western herbal medicine to relieve belly bloating, plus digestive enzymes to help your body digest lactose and fat. So if you're fed up with your bloated belly making you feel fat and miserable, try Caruso's Bloaties today. Caruso's Bloaties is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Wayville Hyundai's 2024 stock clearance is on now. Every new 2024 Hyundai is priced to clear. No waiting, no delays. You can drive away today. Did you know you can always get your car in quicker for a service at Wayville Hyundai? Enjoy peace of mind knowing you're in the best hands with our expert service team. Ask about our service now, pay later options. Change the way you Hyundai at Wayville Hyundai, opposite the showground at 11 Goodwood Road.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
12 minutes to 7. Let's talk about the weather. Hannah Marsh at the Bureau of Meteorology joins us. Hannah, what an extraordinary weekend we had, and it might stand in stark contrast to the weekend we get for Easter. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Yeah, absolutely. It's been quite different, but we are looking at more of the same in the short term, and then it is, like you say, in the long term that we do get that variability. Having a look, we're currently sitting on 22.3 degrees. We did have a minimum of 19.1. That was just after 1 a.m. this morning, and really we have been hovering around that 21 to 22 degree mark for much of the night. We are heading for another sunny day today with a maximum of 34 degrees in the city, 35 at Elizabeth, 32 for Glenelg, Noarlunga, and 33 at Mount Barker. And then that temperature hovering around that 31 to 32 degree mark, really out until Easter. As you mentioned, we are looking at a trough coming through on Thursday and into Friday. Associated with this, we will see the winds becoming southeasterly again and seeing that drop in temperature. So looking at 29 on Friday and 23 for Saturday and just 20 for Sunday. And there is the chance of seeing a spot or two associated with it. The models are a little bit uncertain as to how much rainfall we will see associated with that. And unfortunately, it isn't looking like much in the way of rainfall at this stage.
Going to be a warm few days, though, before that. Thank you for that, Hannah. Hannah Marsh from the Bureau of Meteorology.
Didn't like that last bit of the conversation, though.
No. We need some proper rain.
Yeah. All right, let's head to Sapole. Senior Constable Holly Frisbee joins us. Holly, there was a shed fire at Christie Downs this morning.
Good morning to you both. Just after 2 o'clock this morning, police and fire crews were called to Hyacinth Crescent after reports of a shed fire at the property. Fortunately, there were no reports of any injuries. The cause of the fire is not yet known, and crime scene investigators will be attending the scene later this morning. Anyone with information that may assist with the investigation is asked to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Holly, also, there's been a suspicious fire at a school in Port Pirie this morning.
Just after 3:30 this morning, emergency services were called to a school on the terrace at Port Pirie South after reports of a building was on fire. CFS crews were quickly on scene and contained the fire to a classroom building and an attached toilet block. Fire techs will be attending the scene this morning to determine the cause of the fire. And once again, we do ask anyone with information that may assist with the investigation to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Good stuff, Holly. Senior Constable Holly Frisbee there from Sapole. Hey, was anyone down at Aldinga or Maslan's on the weekend and saw that shark? God. See, we got some plans to put the kids in the kayak and then go paddling around the reef this weekend. And having watched that video, I think we might stay inside and play categories.
So how far off the
50 metres.
That feels close.
50 metres offshore and dead set. It looked like something out of Jaws 4. It was the tail and dorsal fin, and it's literally all it needs is the It's just going up and down the beach.
If you can see the tail as well, it means it's probably a pretty big one.
Oh, it looked like it's about 4 metres long. 50 metres offshore. And it doesn't get very deep very quickly.
I wonder if any of our, anyone was out in a boat saw it over the weekend.
Well, there were some boaties who saw it and filmed it at Maslin's. Might have been different shark.
True.
But you would think it would be a different shark. I mean, there's so many sharks out there. But the one that was just hanging around Silver Sands, just relaxing, that was 50 metres offshore.
I tell you what, you've either it's very scary or you've really come up with a cruel and unusual way to get the beach to yourself next weekend.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Let's head to the United States. Rob Scott in the Channel 7 US Bureau joins us. Rob, with all the crazy headlines coming out of the US at the moment, hearing that Katy Perry going to space, I sort of go, Yeah, totally believable. Fair enough. Morning to you, Rob.
Morning. Yeah. Pop star in space, so she can add something else to her resume, eh?
That's right. So what's going on here?
Yes, so she is part of an all-female crew, 6 women who are going to blast off on Blue Origin's a New Shepard spacecraft. That's the company owned by Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. So they're all blasting off on this rocket ship tomorrow morning, local time in Texas. On board with Katy Perry will be Gayle King. She's the American TV host, and Jeff Bezos' fiancée, Lauren Sanchez. It's only a short trip. They'll be in that rocket for about 11 or so minutes, so it's up and down pretty quick. But they will experience about 3 or 4 minutes of weightlessness as they approach the barrier between space, or the boundary between space and Earth's atmosphere. So it's pretty quick. No pilots on board this flight. It's fully automated. That's kind of led to this argument of whether you can actually call these space tourists, these celebrity space tourists, astronauts, because they don't actually do anything. They're just basically up there for the ride. But I guess you've sort of got to give them a bit of credit for being brave enough to strap themselves into one of these rockets, because as we've seen in the past, things can go wrong, although space travel is now pretty safe. We've heard a lot from Katy Perry over this. She says it's been a lifelong ambition to head into space. She's very excited by it. And an all-female crew, also pretty historic. As I said, 11 minutes, and then they'll come back down to Earth pretty gently in that capsule under parachute, landing in the desert if all goes to plan tomorrow morning local time. So, space travel is becoming more accessible, although the price tag probably not so much, anywhere from a couple of 100,000 to a couple of million, depending on who you are and what the rates are at that particular moment in time. This is the 11th human mission for Blue Origin. So it's gaining in popularity.
But sort of an economy class ticket is 200 grand.
If you
pay $2 million, do you get like better food and wine? Is that how it works? And you got a seat that goes all the way back.
Well, it lasts 11 minutes. 11 minutes, and the price is $2 million. What does that work out per minute? A lot.
Yeah, it certainly does, Rob. Not exactly value for money. That's an amazing story. Thanks for that,
Rob Scott. You'll see the pictures. We'll have some pretty remarkable stuff to show you on 7 News from 6 o'clock tonight. Would you do it if you had the money?
No way. I don't even like flying to Melbourne. I don't like flying. How do you think Mally's going to react when he hears that Katy Perry's going to space, but she's not coming here?
Oh, well, he's going to... You think walking across the MCG was a feat? Wait till he flies into space to meet with her. Right. Of his own volition, without any man-made craft around him.
Well, are we launching satellites from Ceduna?
Yes.
Air Peninsula?
You can just hitch a ride on one of those.
I interviewed that guy. He's a lovely bloke, South African. I think his name's Lloyd Damp. He's is it SpaceX? No, that's Elon Musk's company. Bomb. Yeah, it's not quite that big yet, the one here in South Australia. But can't remember the name of it. But they launched their first satellite about 4 years ago, microsatellites. Becoming a lot more affordable satellites, a bit like when plasma TVs first came out.
It's very much like that.
Because, now you don't need the huge ones that Telstra use. You can actually just put up smaller ones and do them for things like, monitoring water levels on your farm. If you have one of those sort of 10,000 hectare farms up north with a few cows.
Farmers use them all the time. How far away do you think we are from getting a call from one of the Premier's handlers saying, listen, Katy wasn't coming, but what he did was he held his breath while holding onto a satellite that went into space. Oh, no, you're not going to believe this. I'm just telling you what happened, right? He gets the big names.
That's right.
It's 4 to 7. You want to do a couple of texts on the police home care text line?
Corey said there were white pointers everywhere at Maslin's. I thought he was being serious, but then I realised it was probably a slightly risque gag. Good on you, Corey. And Rob says, what time is the Premier blasting off after her? I hope they don't have to reverse park. Okay, I'll leave that one alone. Good on you. One here from Ian. The best story out of Gather Round has to be the last game. Nobody thought Port could beat the number one side, but we did go the power. Good on you, Ian. Enjoy the gloating. It certainly was a hell of a win. And as Ian says, no one thought they were going to do it.
I was talking to Tom Wren as he walked out of the studio, and that old cliche, a week is a long time in football, doesn't it feel so true at the moment? Port coming off the back of that, Crows facing a GWS side this weekend that might be now one of two favourites for the premiership, possibly.
And then FIVEAA away, who are coming into good form. And then not too long after that, Port have a home showdown. If they're anything like last night, they're going to be extremely hard to beat.
The conversation could change quickly. After 7 o'clock this morning, we'll be changing the conversation to the federal campaign trail. How do you feel about the coalition and federal government's policies when it comes to housing affordability, giving people a leg up in the market? We'll put them side by side, and you can have your say.
What we would say too, folks, is here's the deal. Okay, there's 3 more weeks of this tripe until polling day. We are going to pay attention so you don't have to.
That's
so
right.
So if you are at the point where you've had enough politics, you're up to your eye teeth in elbow this, Dutton, that, Clive Palmer ads are sending around the twist. If you tune in, particularly after 7 o'clock, every morning from here on in, we will give you the best no BS account of the policies that matter to you. We're still going to be talking to the Prime Minister and the opposition leader. I'd imagine that we'll be doing interviews with them again before polling day. But in terms of where the rubber hits the road, 5AA News with Matt and Will and I after 7 o'clock, where we generally devote more time to the bigger policy things that have been emerging over the previous 24 hours. But, I got to say, I've not detected in my lifetime, I'm just thinking back, I've never felt such antipathy towards an election as this one.
Good news for the incumbent, that. We've got a news poll out too that maybe points in that direction. It's all coming up right after 5AA News.
Imagine waking up in a home designed for luxury living, where every day brings the opportunity for a morning swim, state-of-the-art wellness amenities, and evenings spent with friends. Retirement isn't about slowing down, it's about living on your own terms. Living Choice has created luxury homes with premium resort-style amenities and a community of like-minded individuals who believe retirement is about living life to the fullest. Make your choice. Living Choice. Go to livingchoice.com.au.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. The Excelsior Hotel's $22 schnitzel and pint offer in the front bar every day. The Excelsior Hotel, Coghlan Street, Brompton. Feels like coming home, but better.
Do hot summers and cold winters have you stressing about the cost of staying comfortable? Do you have legs? You're not alone. Energy prices keep rising and keeping your home cool in summer or warm in winter, and that can feel like a luxury all of a sudden.
But it does not with an NRG installed solar battery. It doesn't have to. You can store and use your own energy day or night, so you're not at the mercy of peak rates or unexpected bill shock. Well, these things are great. We got one about a year ago, and it's made a huge difference. Just reliable, worry-free power whenever you need it.
No more energy bill anxiety, no more tough choice between comfort and cost. Just a home that stays the perfect temperature, powered by sunshine and smart savings.
So take control of your energy and live comfortably all year round. Call NRG Solar today at 1300 858 160.
Steinborner Hyundai has always been well worth a trip. And now there's another great reason to visit. Hyundai's full range of hybrids. Steinborner Hyundai has a hybrid to suit every driver. From the hybrid i30, the Kona, the Tucson, as well as the all-new Santa Fe hybrid family-sized SUV. Experience the difference at Steinborner Barossa and Clare with outstanding service and a great range of vehicles. And you'll see why. Steinborner Hyundai is well worth the trip. Steinborner.com.au.
Local news and information first. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny, 34 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
For the best price, quality and same-day service, trust Complete Windscreens. RAA approved, Main North Road, Prospect.
A new opinion poll is still predicting a hung parliament as Labor and the Coalition make a further $24 billion in combined election promises. More from federal politics editor Michael Packey.
The latest news poll shows voters expect Labor to win most seats in next month's election, but they don't believe Anthony Albanese will be able to govern in his own right. The survey shows the primary vote for both major parties is weak, but after preferences, Labor holds a 4-point lead over the Coalition. The poll comes a day after Anthony Albanese and Peter Dutton launched their official election campaigns at opposite ends of the country, both pledging to spend big to get more young people into the housing market and offering workers competing tax incentives. The election campaign has 3 weeks to run, with early voting starting in about a week.
Tariff exemptions for smartphones and laptops issued by US President Donald Trump has sparked hopes for more exemptions to follow. A conga line of countries are lining up to try and negotiate, including Australia. The exemption granted due to concern about a significant price hike for US consumers, particularly for Apple products. Australia's former ambassador to the US, Arthur Sinodinos, telling Today it's opened the door for more appeals to be made.
This is the challenge when you put tariffs on. Everyone then comes forward and asks for an exemption, and the challenge for the president is how many exemptions and to who is he going to give them.
The Premier says he wants Gather Round to stay for the long term, not just as a contract for a few more years. Gather Round is locked into Adelaide until 2026, but the government is in talks with the AFL. The Premier saying the success in taking the game to the Barossa shows it can be expanded to other regional areas. Peter Malinowska saying the third Gather Round continues to be well received.
You just wanted to go well. I mean, so many people across the state have put a lot of work into this. Like, it doesn't just happen. And I'm not talking about the government even. I'm talking, although there are people that do that work too, but every cafe, every pub, every restaurant, they gear up for it. And all the feedback I've had from Victorians, but other states too, is, wow, it felt the warmth. And that's the magic.
Some more summery weather for this week, with the temperature in the low 30s for most of the week. But Hannah Marsh from the Weather Bureau says the Easter break will be a different story.
We will see the winds becoming southeasterly again and seeing that drop in temperature. So looking at 29 on Friday and 23 for Saturday and just 20 for Sunday. And there is the chance of seeing a spot or two associated with it.
2 people are dead, a third fighting for life after a family drowning in central Queensland. 2 men, 46 and 37, and a teenage boy were swept out to sea at 1770, about 75 kilometres southeast of Gladstone. The bodies of the older man and boy were retrieved from the water. The 37-year-old rescued and airlifted to hospital with critical head injuries. A teenager and a 33-year-old man have been charged over the accidental shooting of a 9-year-old boy in southern New South Wales. The boy died after being shot in the neck at a property near Goulburn. A 14-year-old boy is charged with possessing an unauthorised firearm. The man charged with allowing an unauthorised person to possess a firearm and not keeping the firearm safely. The use of fireworks during a headline act at music festival Coachella has sparked a fire. More from US correspondent Reid Butler.
The firework went haywire just as the band Green Day was finishing its set. And while no injuries have been officially confirmed, witnesses have reported hearing loss. Some were so frightened they thought a terror attack was unfolding. A palm tree caught fire in the artist section of the festival, but crews quickly put out the flames. It's not the only drama to rock Coachella. Police arrested a man for making a bomb threat, but a search of his Tesla revealed no ammunition or explosives.
Turning to 5AA Sport.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Maddie. Port Adelaide skipper Connor Rosie has praised the response of his teammates following last night's impressive 30-point win against Hawthorn. Rosie moved to half-back and was fabulous with 28 touches and a couple of goals, and he says he's delighted the side delivered on such a big stage.
We knew it was going to be probably a high-pressure game, and the season probably hasn't started the way that we would have wanted, and we probably haven't played anywhere close to our best footy. So, a response was what we wanted and what we saw tonight, and I was really proud of how our group approached this week.
There were two other games to wrap up the round yesterday. GWS firming into one of the premiership favourites with a 28-point win against St Kilda, while Fremantle made it 3 straight wins with a 61-point smashing of Richmond. Rory McIlroy is closing in on a first ever US Masters win and first major in more than a decade as we enter the closing stages at Augusta. Despite a bogey on the 11th hole, the 35-year-old still holds a 4-shot lead with only half a dozen holes to play. Jason Day is the best of the Aussies and is currently tied for 5th. He's 6 shots back. Well, Oscar Piastri has continued his wonderful form, winning the Bahrain Grand Prix ahead of George Russell and Lando Norris. It means the 24-year-old is now only 3 points off the championship lead. Well, Gout has won the 200 metres at the Australian National Championships with a wind-assisted time of 19.84 seconds.
I just want to be out there and keep running, so it definitely feels great, and I was very ecstatic. First top 20 and National Championship at 17.
And Liverpool is within touching distance of securing the English Premier League title following a 2-1 win against West Ham. The Reds are now 13 points clear at the top of the table, but Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham lost again, going down 4-2 to Wolverhampton. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now 5AA's traffic.
Thinking about selling your commercial property? Need advice? Talk to the experts at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
Morning there. Burst water main to look out for this morning at Flinders Park, Range Road, just before Holbrooks Road. Another burst at Hilton this morning, so Donald Bradford Drive near South Road. Getting busy at the moment for works, Glenelg East, Brighton Road near Dunbar Terrace. A bit sluggish the parade norwood at the moment. Canberra's Days Road, Croydon Park and Main North Road at Chaps Cross. Get business ready with Telstra Business Internet. It has your business covered with reliable connectivity, network monitoring and specialist business support. Visit Telstra today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
Hop into Macca's for their classic fruit hot cross bun with warm, melty butter. Available for a limited time.
Mostly sunny, 34 today, then partly cloudy days right through to Thursday and temps around 32. Right now, 23. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 7, good morning to you. If you're joining us for the very first time on this Monday morning, a sunny Monday where it's still warm outside and it's going to continue to be in the 30s over the course of the early part of this week before, fingers crossed, hopefully some rain for Easter next weekend. Who have you been beaten by? Have you ever been beaten by someone at something who maybe it turned out that you were never really a chance. Maybe they were great. We're talking about and we're celebrating the achievement of one of our co-workers' sons here this morning. Aidan Murphy came second to Gout in a time that probably would have made him the headline story any other event at any other point just about in the history of Australian athletics. A lovely bloke that we worked with, his son. Remarkable achievement on the weekend. But got us thinking about this question, and we're going to give you someone who's got a good story of coming second or being beaten by someone, a carton of Kyton's Bakery hot cross buns that'll make you the most popular person in your suburb.
54 hot cross buns. 54. If that doesn't last you, Issa, you've got a serious hot cross bun consumption problem.
That you do.
54. That's a lot to get through.
Stacey Lee coming up this hour, the Premier 2 wrapping gather round. But let's start our news wrap on the campaign trail today because we're fast approaching a point in time that someone is going to be defeated in this campaign. It feels weird that both sides had their campaign launches over the weekend because the campaign's been going on for, it feels like, forever. But the official launches were held. The Prime Minister in Perth. Now, he loves WA because WA essentially delivered him election victory this time 3.5 years ago.
It's looking good for them again too, for Labor.
Certainly is. Peter Dutton in Western Sydney. He announced his campaign launch there. The big thing that came out of the weekend is this sort of dueling housing crisis response policy that we've got, dueling housing crisis response policies. So both sides recognise we have an issue with people getting into housing. It is clearly a big motivator for families and for people in a cost of living crisis. So here's their solutions. Here's what they've come up with. Let's start with Anthony Albanese. He says they're going to change the first home guarantee scheme to allow an estimated 80,000 Australians buy their first house with just a 5% deposit. There'll also be a new $10 billion fund to build 100,000 new homes that are reserved just for first home buyers. Here is the Prime Minister.
Today I announce that under a Labor government, you'll be able to buy your first home with just a 5% deposit. Our 5% deposit plan will be open to every Australian looking to buy their first home. It will be available for homes valued all the way up to the average price in every city and region. And you won't have to pay a single dollar in mortgage insurance. Our government will cover it. If you're looking to buy your first home, Labor's got your back.
All right, so that's the Prime Minister's pitch.
We should probably make the point there that if you're not looking to buy your first home, you'll now pay through the tax system so that other people can.
Exactly right.
Because that's how you come up with it. It's going to cost $10 billion.
And will be you wearing significantly more risk with just 5% deposits as well?
Yeah, that's right. $10 billion was the sort of key figure to remember from the weekend because it was Dutt's figure as well, wasn't it?
Here's the coalition. Here is Peter Dutton talking about their announcement over the weekend. So their position is first home buyers purchasing a newly built home would be able to tax deduct payments on up to $650,000 of their mortgage for the first 5 years. He says that will save about $12,000 annually.
We're going to provide the support Australians need for a home deposit, for a first home deposit. Labor wants you to lend taxpayers money so the government has equity in your home. It wants to make you dependent on rather than independent from the government. Now, I say to the Australian people today that the Coalition has a much better plan. We will allow Australians to access up to $50,000 of their super towards a deposit for their first home. That allows home ownership earlier. And as the asset grows in value, as your home grows in value, so does your ultimate asset position as you get later in life. As you grow older and can put that money back into super when you dispose of that house, you can end up with a house and a good super balance as well.
Talking a bit there about the previously announced component of the policy, which is being able to draw out of your super to buy a house.
The audio was weird then, Peter Dutton.
The audio was weird at his launch.
It sounded like there was nobody there. One woman holding a baby.
They needed an atmospheric mic out there like they have at AFL games.
I think that the ALP do the rah-rah because they get all their union mates to turn up and sit in the front row applauding at everything that they say.
I think both these policies are terrible. And I think they're terrible because they are demands, what in economics they call a demand-side solution. So they are going to the question of people's capacity to buy and affordability, which is not the root of the problem. It's a symptom of the problem. And the problem is a lack of stock. The problem is we don't build enough houses. The problem is it's too hard to build houses in this country. And all you do with demand-side solutions is raise the price of housing for everyone. You might give someone some little nook and a little angle in, and they look great in the newspaper as a headline, and they're easy to explain demand-side solutions. Supply-side's harder, cutting red tape, cutting out local government, incentivising big builders to do project, opening up land. Like, it's less sexy, but that's an actual solution. This stuff's not a solution. This is a Band-Aid that potentially actually makes the problem worse.
Would you throw into the supply side as well, controlling the number of people entering the country in a more professional fashion?
Absolutely.
Yeah. One interesting thing I think about Peter Dutton's tax offset, when you look at the brackets and where the biggest hits are, it's low-income Australians. It's taxpayers earning $45,000 to $104,000, which is minimum wage territory, and lower-level salaries, starting to get towards medium-level salaries. But if you're earning $45,000, you are not earning much money in Australia these days. So people in that bracket, they'll get a one-off $1,200. What Peter Dutton wants to do is be able to say to those people, you couple your $1,200 a year with your $750 a year off the price of petrol. Vote for me, I'll give you $2,000. That's a policy that is aimed at places like Spence.
Yep,
that's an Elizabeth Salisbury Gawler policy. And these are the seats, and this is why the symbolism of Peter Dutton going to Western Sydney, home of the Battlers in Sydney, that's the message he wants, because there's no way he's going to win government unless he picks up blue-collar seats from the ALP.
Just to round that out, just lastly too, the Prime Minister announced that under a re-elected Labor government, taxpayers will be able to automatically deduct $1,000 of work expenses on tax returns without needing receipts. So the the coffers were well and truly opened over the weekend.
Yeah. I don't know, like both sides of politics say they're all about, the future of Australia and looking after Australian families. What's the debt bill going to be like for little Rosie and for Sophie and Jim and Charlie and Sam down the track with this profligacy on both sides?
Well, yeah, and it's profligacy in the absence of a plan to improve productivity, to grow the economy. Like, you can rack up debt so long as you're growing. Debt can be a slice of the pie if the pie is always growing, but it's just not anything we talk about. It's just the dumbification of politics.
Good word, that dumbification.
It's not a word either, so I guess it's ironic in a way, isn't it?
It's good. It's good. I like it.
16 after 7, there's been a big development in state politics with now independent MP Nick McBride facing some very serious charges. We might get into that with Stacey Lee in just a moment.
But now, sorry, I had a total technical meltdown there. It's my good friend Gemma Jones. Now, Gemma Jones is, of course, the editor of The Advertiser. I've stuffed this up not once but twice because I originally had you guys coming on the show Friday. You are, of course, coming on the show right now because you are at the start of a road trip heading to Peterborough for this street party tonight. Now, this is all part of the Tiser's excellent For Pete's Sake campaign about getting the government to come to the party in terms of drought relief for people on the land who are doing it tough.
Yeah, that's right, Pembo. We sort of ran this campaign called For Pete's Sake, where we had sort of every farmer we could find called Peter and Peter tell the Premier Peter how tough they were doing it. And, some of the stories were just terrible. Like in 40 and 50 years of farming, they'd never seen anything like the dry spell they're experiencing now. And, it was right across industries, crop farmers, dairy farmers from right across the state. And there's some pretty heartbreaking images of them on their land with, the sort of bones of their livestock. And, we obviously appealed to the Premier, who came to the party with a $55 million package last week. So it's a little bit wacky, but we decided to have then a party in Peterborough today. So we're just heading there now. And I rang the Mayor, Ruth Whittle, there, and I said, look, this is a bit left field, but bear with me. What do you think if we did this? And, fully expecting her to say, who's this? What? And she said the community would love it, and they've been absolutely brilliant. The Advertiser Foundation's partnered with AHA South Australia to hold it at the Peterborough Hotel. It's been supported by a long list of fantastic South Australian companies, the full list of which will be in the Advertiser tomorrow, but we're catering for 400 or 500 people. The main Peter star of the show, Peter Malinauskas, is coming up with most of the cabinet. We're having a basketball clinic with kids with Al Green. I think almost possibly the biggest draw card is Tony Modra pulling beers at the pub for locals. And lunch is all on us and all on these companies.
I thought it was really good that you put the pressure on the government the way you did, and you did it with a degree of wit and style and humour too, which was good. But the important thing was getting the outcome, which was the $55 million. And I think too, like a lot of that money is going to go to community stuff, sports clubs, recreation, the sort of social cohesion and community-oriented stuff that is so much more important in country towns than it is in the cities and the suburbs. And letting everyone have a chance to let their hair down tonight is probably a good panacea for what's been a pretty tough year.
Yeah, and I mean, interestingly, the local basketball team is just a roaring success because, like with a drought on, you don't get much grass for your football field. It's hard to travel to Jamestown. And, the secretary there, she's, the Advertiser Foundation is going to pay for the kids' basketball fees this year, so they'll have nothing to pay to play. But she said, the kids are watching their crops fail at home, their livestock die, and they get on the court and they light up. And I think, it's a sport plays such an important role, and I think the government, has highlighted that too with its own package of help.
Yeah, well, good on the Tiser for doing this. Gemma Jones, the editor of The Advertiser, on the start of their road trip with the Tiser's Advertiser and Sunday Mail Foundation heading up to the Peterborough Street Party tonight.
All right, let's check traffic and we'll come back. Tim Jennifer, I reckon, might be up and about this morning. I think he might be on yippee beads. We'll find out very shortly. When you cover things, they last longer. The same goes for you. Be sun smart and check UV levels daily.
Thanks, Will. Not looking too bad today. Accident breakdown free, so that's a good start. Couple of burst waterways. That's about it, really. You'll find the first one at Hilton, St Donald Bradford Drive near the South Road intersection. Another one at Flinders Park today. This one's on Grange Road near Holbrooks Road. We are getting a little bit busy South Road, Edwardstown for those ongoing works. And look out for works at Glenelg East too, Brighton Road near Dunbar Terrace. Cameras, where did I see them before? Here they are, Frederick Road, Seaton and Port Road at Cheltenham. Tired of high winter energy bills? Save money with a Barbecues Galore quality wood heater. Embrace natural warmth and save this winter at Barbecues Galore. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Graham Goodings.
Australians have been urged to prepare for an unusually warm winter. The Bureau of Meteorology forecasting above average temperatures across the country in the months ahead. Okay, should we really take the Bureau of Meteorology predictions with a grain of salt? How accurate have they been of late?
Graham Goodings.
The bomb has got it wrong, and dramatically wrong. Take it with a grain of salt.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Last month, we serviced around 11,000 vehicles. More than 3,000 Hyundais, i30s, 20s, Santa Fe's, 2,000 Kias, Sorrentos, Carnivals, Rios, over 700 Hondas. That's right, over 11,000 people trusted us with their pride and joy. Automasters, isn't it time for you to switch and save? Call 1300 Automasters or book online. All centres offer repair now, pay later options. So switch and save with Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
Oh, geez, it's hot in here. Can someone pass the Morford air? Oh, that's better.
When the temperature is too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air, Adelaide's own homegrown family air conditioning company. Morford Air has kept South Australians perfectly comfortable for over 50 years. So when it's too hot or cold to bear, you can always reach for the Morford Air. Look for the bright blue building at 602 Marion Road or visit morfordair.com.au.
Morford.
Now, well, it's fair to say we all have clutter at home and in the workplace.
Oh, yeah. Well, thankfully, clutter and mess is no match for Charmin Shelving. Imagine a space where everything has its place and is easy to access. Well, Charmin Shelving, they make that. They make life so much easier.
And that's right. They're such great people too. Bill, George or Christine, they'll come to your home, your office, your workshop or your shed to measure up, then design, deliver and assemble the perfect storage solution in a great range of colours to suit any decor.
Everyone needs a little Charmin Shelving in their life. Call into 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens and take a look. In fact, their showroom and office is now next door in the big white building, so make sure you enter via Albert Street. You can jump online as well at charminshelving.com.au or take a look on Facebook.
For those whose pool is the main feature of their yard, Walco offer a special mesh cover to keep debris and leaves out while making your pool area look stunning all through winter. Join the great cover-up and ask Walco about their stylish new mesh pool covers. Walco.com.au.
Hi, Brett Emmett here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. We've been doing deals on a huge range of 2024 plate Mazdas, and we've just received truckloads more of them, all priced to clear. These drive-away deals on new Mazdas include free 12 months rego, free stamp duty, and accessory packs worth $500. Yep, absolutely free. All exclusive to Mawson Lakes Mazda. No gimmicks, just great deals. Mawson Lakes Mazda, Salisbury Highway, T's and C's apply.
Last month, around 11,000 people trusted us with their pride and joy. Automasters, logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Isn't it time for you to switch and save? Call 1300 Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes after 7. In the next 30 minutes, I suspect we're going to be talking to two of the happiest people in South Australia. One of those is the Premier, who gets to come on and talk about what was another successful iteration of Gather the Round. But I think the man before him will be happier. His name is Timmy G.
Speaking about report cards with distinctions, here's Geneva.
Tim Geneva on 5AA Breakfast.
Timmy G!
Well, Timmy, we've spoken to you on some pretty rough sort of Mondays and weeks in the first few rounds of this season. You must have sprung out of bed this morning.
Didn't go to bed, just kept celebrating.
That's the Port Adelaide way.
Happy birthday to me. It was my birthday yesterday, and they could not have delivered a better present.
Oh, mate, happy birthday. What a game, though. That was just... What was it like? Like, you must have just been pinching yourself at half-time.
Look, we spoke about it pre-game because, look, it was definitely one of those games, and I said it to Rowie during the week. I said, do you know when you get a game where nobody expects you to win or have an impact at all? It's just one of those, and it felt like that. You know, walking in the ground, everyone was sort of like more in hope than in belief. So there was two factors. I just said, like, you got to remember, Hawthorn are coming off the bye. Now, if you look at the record of teams coming off the bye, it's not great. I think Hawthorn have now won one of their 5 coming off a bye. So that it definitely has an effect because they had great momentum, great continuity, playing great footy, and all of a sudden it stops. And Port, on the other hand, had another sort of torrid week. I definitely saw signs that, last week in the game that I thought were better. But they really cleaned up their game and they needed to have a fast start. That was the second element. And they hadn't had a fast start except the Richmond game. And you go, if they can do that, maybe it gives them a glimmer of hope. But they didn't just do it. They absolutely whacked it. 6-3-1-2 in the first term, and then they're up by 59 points at half-time. It was a complete performance.
Do you think Connor Rozee to half-back is something we'll see for the rest of the season now?
Well, I don't know about the rest of the season, but wow, what an option it is.
Certainly
Look, I loved it. Look, saw him play as a kid in the 2018 Sanford Grand Final for North Adelaide at halfback, and he was one of the stars there and got himself drafted for the way he played. So look, he is a very good player, and I think that actually probably relaxed Connor a bit. I think he's been putting too much pressure on himself as skipper, and he's gone to half-back where he can see the game. He's an incredible reader of the ball. And we were talking about the small forwards, which are dangerous, of course, Watson and Little Moore and these guys and Ginnivan, and you're going, well, how do you cover these off? Well, what a great option to have Rozee there because he was so fast, so electric, that they couldn't get away from him, which they thought they might have.
There was so much feeling in the game. Every time Sicily got the ball, Tim, the boos were ringing out. And at the end, as they were walking off the ground being led by Sicily, I reckon every second fan was doing the aeroplane gesture in the crowd. Good to see a bit of aggro and tension there in a AFL game, don't you reckon?
I think one thing about the gather round, it was very similar to the final. There was a lot of Hawk supporters there as well, which was great, and that's the beauty of gather round. What I think is that there's probably now a genuine rivalry between Port and Hawthorn, and one that you can spice up every time you do play. So there's not a lot of love there, which is great. And they were stung last night. Don't worry about that. They've been playing great footy, and I thought their second half was full of character, the way they just had to... I describe it at half-time as eating the elephant. They had to do it bit by bit, and they got to within 22, I think it was. So,
yeah.
And Treader said, elephants don't taste very nice. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, those 2 goals back-to-back, I just sort of thought, well, the umpire didn't need to step in and, categorically, kill the game the way he did with that decision. But I guess the defender took the bait with Rioli giving him the little sucked in, mate, showing him the ball.
Oh, yeah. And that's just the moment where, as much as you want to hurt people, you have to control your emotions. Just exactly. Hold your gunpowder sometimes. Just hold it. Yeah. Oh, God. Hey, boys, you were talking about Murph's lad, Aiden, running second. Yeah. What a fantastic run it was. I watched it. God, I watched it this morning. He's such a good runner. He's upright and on runs, but I think we do have a bit of a superstar in Gout, don't we? 19.88. God, wow. Well, that's an amazing time.
Gout put about a 15-metre gap on the field, but Aiden Murphy had about a 5-metre gap to the rest of the field. So if Gout didn't exist, he's the dominant 200-metre runner in Australia. Obviously, Lockie Kennedy notwithstanding, but great story. So wrapped for Murph. Good on him. Great family.
Absolutely. Keep the good work up, young fella. Yep. And you too as well. You're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you, Tim. I like this, Tim, on a Monday morning. Good on you, Timmy.
Woo!
Get some sleep.
Yeah.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny, 34 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Chipped windscreen. RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
Voters now expect the federal election will deliver a hung parliament just 19 days before Australians head to the ballot box. News poll figures show the coalition has the highest primary vote on 35%, down from 36. But after preferences, Labor holds a two-party preferred lead of more than 4%. Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers telling Today they're not getting ahead of themselves.
We've still got 3 weeks to go and this election's going to be really tight. Whether the polls are a bit better for us or the polls are a bit weaker for us, the most important thing that we're focused on is this choice.
The Australian Medical Association launching its federal election platform calling for immediate action to modernise Medicare. The body proposing a 7-tier rebate structure to encourage patients to spend more time with their GP. President Dr Danielle McMullen says the proposal would help better support patient outcomes.
Now, with more chronic disease, an ageing population and more mental health, the structure of Medicare just doesn't work. Medicare focuses on shorter consultations. Our proposed reforms allow for longer consultations with your GP and a better Medicare rebate for those consultations.
Australia's share market likely hasn't fallen to its lowest level. Shares plummeted on the back of Donald Trump's tariffs before rebounding after some of them were delayed for 90 days. Market analysts say it's too soon to say if we've seen the low point. Police are investigating a shed fire at Christie Downs this morning. Senior Constable Holly Frisbee says it broke out on Hyacinth Crescent just after 2.
Fortunately, there were no reports of any injuries. The cause of the fire is not yet known and crime scene investigators will be attending the scene later this morning.
And there was another fire at a school in Port Pirie South overnight. Fire crews containing it to a classroom and attached toilet block. Fire Corps investigators will be at the scene later this morning. We're having a warm lead up into Easter, but the Bureau of Meteorology warning it won't last the 4-day break. Friday looking to warm up to 29 degrees, Saturday 23, Monday will be 20. Forecaster Hannah Marsh says there may also be some rain towards the end of the weekend.
The models are a little bit uncertain as to how much rainfall we will see associated with that. And unfortunately, it isn't looking like much in the way of rainfall at this stage.
Economic modelling showing falls in private hospital births could cost taxpayers an extra $1 billion a year. The Monash Uni analysis shows a 50% total decline in private system births would require more subsidies in public hospitals. Ceasefire progress between Ukraine and Russia has suffered a major setback. More than 30 civilians have been killed after 2 Russian missiles struck the city of Sumy in northeastern Ukraine, marking the deadliest attack this year. The strike contradicts President Donald Trump's recent comments to reporters where he said he believed talks between the two nations were going well.
I think Ukraine-Russia might be going okay, and you're going to be finding out pretty soon. You know, there's a point at which you just have to either put up or shut up, and we'll see what happens. But I think it's going fine.
Dick Smith has thrown out the challenge to find the first person to fly an electronic aircraft from England to Australia. That's e-batteried. He's putting up a $22,000 sculpture as a prize. Turning to 5AA Sport.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Oh, Matty, absolute drama at the US Masters at Augusta, where Rory McIlroy's gone from 4 shots in front to now a share of the lead with only a few holes to play. McIlroy was cruising, but incredibly found water on the par 5 13th hole before making double bogey. He dropped another shot at the next hole, and he's now at 10 under along with Justin Rose and Ludwig Oberg. Jason Day's the best of the Aussies, and he's now only 3 shots back in a tie for 5th. But just as I speak, McIlroy has stiffed a 7-iron from 200 yards to within 4 feet for eagle on the par 5. 15th hole, the crowd is going wild. Let's go to football. Port Adelaide has recorded its second win of the season after beating Hawthorn by 5 goals in the final match of Gather Round. Dockers coach Justin Longmuir was full of praise for star forward Josh Tracy, who booted a career-high 6 goals in yesterday's 61-point win over the Tigers.
What you see is probably the leading patterns of marks and the goals, but if you watch it closely, there's some of the efforts to chase out, put pressure on, very rarely gets a break, goes in the ruck. Phenomenal athlete and very smart footballer.
And there was one other match yesterday with GWS 28-point winners against St Kilda. Well, Oscar Piastri has recorded his 4th Grand Prix win and the 2nd of the season after winning in Bahrain. The Aussie led from start to finish, but insists he's not thinking about the World Championship at this stage.
The championship side of things, I'm not really focusing on. You know, we're still so early, but performances like this are certainly going to help.
His teammate Lando Norris was 3rd, George Russell came 2nd. And in some soccer to finish, Tottenham has suffered its 17th loss of the season, going down to Wolverhampton 4-2 in the EPL. Newcastle beat Man United 4-1, while Liverpool had a 2-1 win against West Ham. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now having a look at the roads around Adelaide this morning.
Thinking about selling your commercial property? Need advice? Talk to the experts at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
Morning there. Roads aren't looking too bad today. Roads and breakdown free. Always a good way to get into a Monday, that's for sure. A couple of worst water mains to keep in mind. You find one at Hilton today. So Donald Bradford Drive near the intersection of South Road. Going on the top, Flinders Park, Grange Road near Holbrooks Road. Getting busy at the moment. The Port of Expressway, Port Adelaide, and starting to build too, South Road, Karata Park. Only one on camera, Adams Road, Craigmore. These school holidays take the whole family to Event Cinemas and save big with Family Saver tickets. Enjoy a great lineup of family movies at a great price. Book now at eventcinemas.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
Hop into Macca's for their classic fruit hot cross bun with warm, melty butter. Available for a limited time.
Mostly sunny today and 34, then partly cloudy days through to Thursday and temps of around 32. Right now it is 22 degrees. 5AA, always Adelaide.
If you're constipated and struggling to poo, here's some great news. Introducing Caruso's Constipation Ease. Caruso's Constipation Ease is a new herbal and fibre combination containing cascara, yellow dog, fennel and green banana powder. These help to relieve constipation by making it easier for you to poo. So if you're struggling to poo and would like to poo more, why not try Caruso's Constipation Ease? Caruso's Constipation Ease is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Fluorio Milk Company will always put SA first, and you can too. When you reach for milk, reach for Fluorio Milk Company products and support our dairy farmers and their families. We guarantee that all our milk is 100% South Australian and it's always fresh. We have over 24 refrigerated trucks shipping Fluorio milk to cafes, restaurants and supermarkets all over SA. Look for the local in your supermarket. Fluorio Milk Company. We're for SA dairy farmers.
Buy a car from Edwardstown Mazda and win the ultimate Bali holiday. Flights, accommodation and activities. Plus, get up to $8,000 in savings across the entire range. Only at Edwardstown Mazda, the #1 destination for Mazda in SA. T's and C's apply.
If you need to move from A to B this autumn, your best move is hiring from Budget Car and Truck Rental.
Certainly is. To get started, you'll need boxes and tape for storage and furniture covers to keep your possessions pristine. Well, Budget's got you sorted on all that.
That's right. Then you'll need the perfect set of wheels, and Budget has got them all. Cars, big and small, moving vans and trucks available on a standard driver's licence, plus utes, hybrids, trailers, 12 to 25-seater buses and more.
Once you've chosen a vehicle, grab Budget's blankets and a trolley to ensure the move goes smooth.
Job done easy with Budget, a family-owned business with friendly staff you can count on at multiple locations across SA.
Budget. Get to the good stuff. Call Budget on 13 27 27.
This Easter, stock up your wine rack at Freestone Estate in Waikerie. There's up to 50% off premium sparkling whites and reds, Sauv Blanc, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir and Shiraz. Or like a drop of port, pick up 5 litres of port for a bargain, plus non-alcoholic grape juices. Sip your way through the savings Thursday to Easter Monday, but close Good Friday. Even they need a break. Freestone Estate. Premium wine, no premium price tag. Sturt Highway at Waikerie. Follow the signs to Freestone Estate. Drink responsibly.
Your baby's mind is growing even before they arrive. The more you talk and sing and play, the more their mind will thrive. Gotta talk with your baby, play with your baby, read to your baby. Make out you're a lion. Talk with your baby, play with your baby, read to your baby. Your words will grow their mind. Every time you interact with your child, you're helping grow their mind. For more information, visit wordsgrowminds.org.au.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
3 minutes to 8. The premiere before 8 o'clock. After 8, we're going to go breaking at 8. And then after that, we got an announcement that is going to make this a unique Australian federal election. This has never happened in history. It may be the only time that happens.
Unique and tasty.
And more delicious. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is going to be spectacular. So I'd stick around wherever you are, whatever you're doing after 8. This will be the shot in the arm this federal election campaign needs, I think. This will get people on board.
Don't worry, it's not a dire policy discussion. We're not analysing the latest news poll. It's going to be fun.
It certainly will be.
On 5AA Breakfast, this is Stacey Lee.
It is a Monday morning, which brings Stacey into the studio. Morning to you, Stace.
Good morning.
Sorry, let me turn you on. There we go.
Good morning. No, that's all right. I think maybe I turned your headphones down before, Dave. I don't know.
That's
if
what's going on.
Yeah, sorry
that's
about
me.
that. That's you.
Yes, that's me. That's me there.
Too many
Good.
touch screens in here. We're not
there.
used to all the tech.
We're still getting used to it, aren't we?
You're still. I think you're distracted, Stace, because you're coming in on a cloud. As per Timmy G at 7:25. You too, Port Tragic. You were there last night. Got a big smile on your eye.
Yeah, that was. Although last quarter, final quarter, there was a few Hawthorn goals. I'm thinking, we're doing the maths.
Surely not.
Logging onto the phone, how much time is left? Can they do it? 1 goal a minute? I mean, probably not, but you never know at the moment.
No, it was intense.
Yeah. What a great game. And what a great way to finish Gather Round. It would have been nice if the Crows had won. I'm sorry, I'm not rubbing it in. I mean this genuinely. It would have been nice to bookend the round with two
we think that
South Aussie wins.
Yeah, nice is one way of putting it.
Bit of chaos in state parliament. This Nick McBride story, we can't really say anything about it other than the charges against him are repellent and untested.
Yes.
They have to be determined by a court, but 3 counts of assaulting his wife, Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a bit of upheaval with these country seats, couldn't there, Stacey?
Yeah. Well, we have 3 Liberal MPs, or former Liberal MPs, all of them, currently in court at the moment. Of course, Nick McBride will face these charges, and that's why we can't say a whole lot about the charges at this stage. But then there's Troy Bell as well, who's currently awaiting sentencing. He's got theft and dishonestly dealing with charges documents against him. And then Fraser Ellis has been found guilty of deception charges. I'm not sure about Nick McBride at this stage, as I say.
He's appealing, though. Fraser Ellis is appealing.
And
4
I think
counts.
Troy Bell attempted to appeal. And so at this stage, it's 3 former Liberal MPs, all country MPs as well, all relatively popular in their electorates who are in court. The rule is if you are found guilty of an indictable offence, you can't sit in Parliament. And I was looking up an indictable, I'm reading some act from 1921, amended in 1935, to try and work out. Surely you'd assume assault charges have to be considered an indictable offence.
Would be tenable if they're upheld in the McBride case.
Yeah. And
surely not.
And even if it's not technically an indictable offence, you don't think, I wouldn't think that the Parliament would allow someone who has been found guilty, and we don't know that yet, hasn't been tested in court, to stay in Parliament. But this is going to be huge, and the next step for the Liberal Party is going to be very important in each of these cases, because these are all seats that the party could potentially win back that they've lost. All of these MPs are former Liberal MPs, now independents, very popular independents in their seats, and this is a real opportunity for the Liberal Party to get these seats back.
And let's be clear to people that are just tuning in about something. Because of the nature of these things being before the court, we can't talk about the substance of them.
No.
And we talk about the politics of it, not as a way of dismissing the seriousness of what's going on in a criminal sense or the conduct. It's just the only component we can really talk about it in depth is the political ramifications, which, as you say, are significant. Because as we've learned in recent times, seats don't come, once they go independent, they don't come back. The Libs should have learnt their lesson with Frome.
Yes.
And the by-election, the Rob Kerins by-election there, which they didn't. Everyone always talked about it. We can never have another repeat of Frome. Well, it had happened now multiple times.
4 times if you count Dan Cregan.
That's right. On a federal level, we know Mayo with Rebecca Sharkey. That's not going back anytime soon. So the opportunity to get them back is suddenly a massive one for the Libs.
My understanding is, regardless of whether they're indictable offences, the Parliament still has to sit and make a collective determination as to whether the MP should be removed or not. Now, there's a huge vested interest, obviously, for the Libs to do that, and I would argue if you've got people who've been found guilty of serious offences, then rightly so, even though for them it comes with the added benefit of you can win seats back. But if the Liberals are the ones who lead the charge to oust these MPs, be it one of them, 2 of them, or all 3 of them, I think that it would be a pretty bad look for the Labor Party to say, no, we'll just leave them there.
We're happy to keep them in Parliament.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the only reason the Liberal Party would and potentially should consider it or reconsider it would be the political loss in those seats if they did. Like I said, these are all very popular MPs who were elected as Liberals and did not, well, apart from Nick McBride, did not willingly choose to leave the party. Nick McBride sort of left the party in extraordinary fashion. The other two, Fraser Ellis and Troy Bell, were almost forced to leave the party, and they remain very popular. And I do think there would be some sort of backlash against the party in those seats if they were to make a move against them because they are so popular.
But it depends on who the candidates are.
And there's not much of an alternative, a Labor alternative in those seats.
But this is where the Libs could actually bolster their profile, and it could, I mean, I'm not trying to cause trouble for Vincent Tarzia, but there has been talk already that if Troy Bell falls over, that Ben Hood, who's an upper house MP, but he's based in Mount Gambier, he's got a very significant local support base, so Ben Hood could be the candidate down there. And this is probably getting a little bit too ahead of itself, but in the event that Nicole Flint fails to regain Boothby, the federal seat of Boothby, she's got a big connection to Kingston SE. There's been talk in the past about her being a state candidate.
Running for MacKillop, yeah.
And, you know, with the right having control of the party now, they're two conservative figures who, should they choose, a path could easily be cleared for them to run down there. So you had two really high-profile people, the Libs getting both hands on the southeast for the first time in a while.
How would that look, though, especially on Ben Hood's part, sure, but especially on Nicole Flint's part? And, you know, like you said, we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves here with Boothby still up for grabs in a few weeks' time. But holding the seat of Boothby, then giving it up for health reasons, which I think everybody is totally understanding of. And then there was a little bit of, will I run in MacKillop? Will I not run in MacKillop? Will I stay in Boothby? Will I not stay in Boothby? And now she stayed in Boothby. And if she was to lose Boothby, then to go back to a potential run in MacKillop, I'm not sure how that would play in the electorate. Do you want to be city-based, or do you want to be...
I think she always just did want Boothby. And when she did the interview with Cornsey, in fact, she said, my heart is in Boothby.
Yeah.
So she's basically said, I've got no interest in state politics, but who knows, things might change.
But, I mean, no, but she wouldn't not win MacKillop. Like, she wins MacKillop.
Yeah,
totally.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's no alternative.
That's right. It's a premier seat, though.
And you know what? We know that the Liberal Party needs more female MPs, especially in the lower house. They only have two at the moment, Ashton Hearn and Penny Pratt. And I've been saying for a while, there is this ongoing battle with the Liberal Party right now between its base and the rest of the voting electorate. The average Liberal member is a man in his 60s. The average voter in Australia is a woman in her 30s. And this is where we have issues with pre-selection for lower house seats because men in their 60s don't want to vote for younger women. Every young woman in the Liberal Party I've spoken to, I had Laura Henderson on the program last week, who said at lots of meetings, she gets asked what her family ambitions are. Will you be having children? Will you be taking time off? How long will you not be representing us if we do put you in Parliament? These are questions that people are getting asked in 2025 in South Australia, and the Liberal Party has a women's problem. The party doesn't think it has a women's problem. The membership of the party doesn't think it has a women's problem. The rest of society thinks it has a women's problem. So this could be a really good opportunity for the party to fix that.
She's whether you like her or not, Nicole Flynn is a quality campaigner. She's an energetic campaigner.
Yep.
Well, she showed that the other day where she jumped on our show going berserk about all the dust issues that people are having in Brighton.
Yeah, she would invigorate the state Liberal Party, I think, if that opportunity did arise. But I still think Boothby's in... What's our read on Boothby? There's the one federal seat right now. All the polling is really negative for Peter Dutton and the Libs. I think everything's tracking to a slim minority government or a majority government for Labor. But Boothby feels like it's still in play, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Boothby feels more in play than Sturt to me.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm in Sturt. I couldn't get the Labor candidate on last week, Claire Clatterham. We had James Stephens on the program. We had this was after the bypass announcement.
The whole campaign's so buttoned down, isn't it? Like I was texting someone the other day who I've known for about 30 years, and they said, I'm not actually allowed to talk to you. Everything needs to come out of head office.
Yeah, we put in a request for the Labor candidate from Sturt. Instead, we got
and you get these
Amanda Rishworth and... which is great,
talking points instead of actual quotes.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
We might take a quick break. The Premier's going to join us on the other side of the break. I imagine he's pretty excited about Gather Round and how that all played out. But what comes for its future? Stick around, Stacey. The Premier's going to join us on 5AA Breakfast next. Let's check traffic. When you cover things, they last longer. The same goes for you. Be sun smart and check UV levels daily.
Thanks, Will. Roads looking pretty good today. Our accident breakdown free. Take that where you can get it. Couple of burst water mains, hardly surprising. You'll find the first one at Hilton today, so not a rapid drive near the South Road intersection. Another one at Flinders Park, but not too many delays. This one, which is good. It's on Grange Road near Holbrooks Road. Getting busy at the moment. Main North Road at Enfield with a camera. Frederick Road at Seaton. Final boarding call for Flight Centre's Fiji Airways sale. Fly Adelaide to Fiji returned from just $665. Don't miss out. Book online or install with Flight Centre today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Deliver more with Toyota, the world's #1 forklift brand. Choose from a great range including pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
Is it the best Beechwood home ever made? Possibly, but there's always more to come from Beechwood. Introducing the Caliente, nearing completion and open soon for viewing at Craigburn Farm. The Caliente is a multi-level masterpiece of design, innovation and style with unmatched street appeal. Inspired by Palm Springs and California, this incredible home is definitely a conversation starter, and the team at Beechwood Homes cannot wait for you to see it. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Now, when it comes to making your next party something really special and comfortable, using one of those tarps to block out the wind will make a bit of difference, but it won't make a big difference. No way, Jose.
No, absolutely not. For that, you need Big Difference Home Improvements, especially when it comes to outdoor blinds. Call Big Difference Home Improvements and see what a huge difference their outdoor blinds can make to your entertaining area, sun, rain, hail or shine. You can't muck around with outdoor blinds. You need them supplied and installed by pros like the team at Big Difference Home Improvements. You'll love the end result and the outstanding service they provide.
Big Difference Home Improvements also make a big difference when it comes to roller shutters, carports, pergolas, verandas and stunning timber decks.
Don't just make a difference, make a big difference. Visit bigdifference.com.au for a free measure and quote.
Feed-in tariffs are dropping, but your savings don't have to. Not if you call my friends at NRG Solar. With an NRG installed battery, you store your solar power during the day and use it when you need it most. No more giving it away for cents. More energy independence means lower bills, smarter savings, no matter what the price of energy is. Take control of your energy. Visit NRG Solar, 1275 South Road, St Mary's. Call 1300 858 160 and talk to NRG Solar today.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 to 8, Gather Round 3 has been done and dusted. The Premier of South Australia joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Premier, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, gents.
So we've spoken to Timmy G, Premier. We've got Stacey Lee next to us. You can round it out as our third port guest. Do you want to do a bit of on-air gloating before we get down to brass tacks?
Oh, look, pride comes just before the fall, so I'll avoid gloating. But I've got to say I was wrapped last night. It was a great way to finish the weekend. And to get a result that we didn't expect was just a cherry on top.
So where are things at now with Gather Round? Obviously, we contracted for next year, but we were just trying to sort of analyse some of the comments you made over the past few days. Are you at the point where you don't think we need to go cap in hand to the AFL about an extension and end up paying overs for something that has demonstrably been a huge success?
Well, that's only one way of summing it up, yeah. I mean, look, we'd be frank about it. I think my job is to make sure that we keep Gather Round, but not pay more than what it's worth. And, you know, I think the best way we can maximise our position in that regard is make it impossible for the AFL to take it away from us. And I think this weekend we've had a big step in the right direction in that regard. And what I'm saying to the AFL is take it away from South Australia, your pill, because I just don't think anybody will be able to put it on in the way that we do. For geographical reasons, in terms of the size of the city, the proximity of our regions to our city. I mean, you can't play a game in the Margaret River because it's 4 hours away from Perth. So for all these reasons, I just don't think it would be serious for the AFL to take it away from us. And that sort of strengthens our bargaining position to make sure they don't try and make the state government or the taxpayer pay more than what the event is worth. So if there's mutual recognition around that, we can have a sensible negotiation that sets us up for the longer term, and I'm willing to take my time, we're willing to take our time in these negotiations just to make sure we get that right outcome. And that was discussed informally over the course of the weekend, and I think everyone's I'm hoping everyone's on the same page. Not that we take anything for granted, but certainly there has been warmth in all the discussions that I've had with Andrew Dillon, but also Richard Gorder, and for that I'm grateful.
You mentioned it'd be crazy to take it off South Australia, which is right, and I think the entire football community agrees. That said, one thing that has been floated is the concept of having multiple gather rounds. So South Australia has one, and maybe they have them in other locales around the country. Is our current level of taxpayer support for this event conditional on its exclusivity?
Yes.
And will it remain that way, Premier?
That would be my expectation. And that would be something, certainly, we would want to lock down.
Premier, is this...
I mean, look, sorry, Stacey, sometimes I think people understate the value of scarcity. Scarcity is what gives things, excitement and power. So we certainly want to be, in terms of the LIV negotiation, LIVs have seen the success of their product in Australia, and they certainly wanted to keep their options open, I think, on another Australian LIV event. But we made clear that would completely disrupt the model from the state government's perspective, and we were able to lock down exclusivity. My aspiration would be to do the same in respect of footy and gather round into the future with the AFL.
And would that be a deal breaker if they were to insist on multiple gather rounds? Would you just pull out?
Look, I'm not going to. I wouldn't. Look, what I would say is it would change the nature of the event so demonstrably that would invite very different considerations from the state government, particularly when it comes to the departure of any fee that comes from the taxpayer. So I'm not one to walk away from negotiations. I think you're best keeping talking until you get an outcome that is of mutual benefit. But let's just wait and see how it plays out. I think we've got some time ahead to do this. I don't feel urgency. I'm more concentrated on getting the right outcome than a quick outcome.
Is part of this, Premier, a recognition that perhaps you're one of the only significant political vulnerabilities you have is the assertion that you're too focused on sport and so forth, and that you don't want to look on the cusp of an election like you're dying in a ditch to do everything to keep the AFL happy to get gather around for a few more years?
Oh, no, that's not really my concern. I mean, I think anybody, I understand that allegation, but I think any person that looks at the government's agenda will see that gather round comes around once a year, and we talk about it a lot because it's frankly brilliant for the state, and there's a lot of interest. But the other 51 weeks of the year I'm on this program talking about any other number of issues, and this morning I'm about to stand up on a housing policy, and then from here I'm driving out to Peterborough to continue to roll out the government's drought program in conjunction with an event that the advertiser's holding, which I think is really good, and we're focusing on drought. So, the show moves on pretty quick. But when Gather Round is here, my job is to push and advocate and promote the state as best as I can. And I can't think of how many different interviews I've done with interstate media over the course of the last 4 or 5 days, hopefully plugging the state in a way that represents value.
Peter Malinauskas, thanks for joining us this morning on 5AA.
Thanks heaps, appreciate it.
And great to have you in as well, Stacey. Thanks for sticking around. We'll be tuning in this afternoon.
You're welcome any time.
Oh, thank you.
Let's work for us.
See you tomorrow.
Good on you. Catch you, Stacey.
Bye.
Up-to-the-minute news for South Australia. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny, 34 for Adelaide today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Make RAA approved windscreen repairer Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. Visit completewindscreens.com.au.
There's been a suspicious fire at a South Australian school just one day into school holiday. Senior Constable Holly Frisbee says it broke out at Port Pirie South at around 3:30am.
CFS crews were quickly on scene and contained the fire to a classroom building and an attached toilet block. Fire techs will be attending the scene this morning to determine the cause of the fire.
While a shed went up in flames on Hyacinth Crescent at Christie Downs this morning, the cause not yet known. The latest news poll out shows the majority of voters expect Labor to win the May election on a two-party preferred basis. Labor leads 52% to the Coalition's 48%. The Australian Medical Association is calling on the major parties to modernise Medicare, proposing a 7-tier rebate structure to support patients. An interaction website has been launched showing patients what the next government needs to do to fix the health care insurance scheme. The Coalition is promising a new housing policy to help first-time buyers. If it wins the election, it would allow buyers of newly built homes to deduct interest payments of their mortgage from the income tax. Shadow Treasurer Angus Taylor says it'll make it easier for first-home buyers entering the market.
First home buyer with a taxable income of, say, $120,000 with a $650,000 mortgage, if they're paying 6% or just over 6%, they'll get a benefit of around $12,000 a year by being able to deduct that interest payment, that 6%. They'll be able to deduct that against their income.
The state government is exploring the appropriate maximum building heights in strategic infill locations in Adelaide's inner west. It's looking at the code amendment for areas like Port Road at Theberton, the new Southwark development and the Hindmarsh Triangle. It plans to review policies guiding development in significant infill areas identified in the Greater Adelaide Regional Plan to ensure space in residential development is maximised. The National Library is asking South Australians to donate campaign materials from the federal election to add to a unique collection that dates back to 1901. The library's current collection includes items ranging from simple flyers to how to vote cards, along with posters, T-shirts, hats, badges and even election night bingo cards. Curator at the National Library, Jennifer Selby, says the collection provides a unique snapshot of Australia's social and political history.
The oldest items are back from 1901 and these are really simple printed leaflets but with very strong messaging, things like vote for these 4 people and then waste your other votes on these. So printed material in the collection has changed so much over the years with the changes in printing technology and costs, but also with the rules around electoral communications and what can be said.
A strike force is investigating the shooting of a 9-year-old boy in the southern New South Wales area. More from Nine's Jack Hahn.
Detectives have just formally charged a 14-year-old boy with possessing an unauthorised firearm and a 33-year-old for allowing an unauthorised person access to a firearm and for not keeping it safely. Both will appear in court at later dates and, if convicted, face the possibility of jail time. A strike force was set up soon after emergency services discovered that a 9-year-old boy had been accidentally shot on a rural property in Windillamar, south of Goulburn. Despite the efforts of police and paramedics, the child could not be saved and died at the scene. Police are this morning preparing for the upcoming court cases and are preparing a report for the coroner.
A survey has found too many children are entering high school without having mastered the fundamentals of math. The Grattan Institute report shows teachers are dealing with a varying range of ability once students reach Year 7. Turning to 5AA Sport.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Maddie. Incredible scenes at the US Masters at Augusta where Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose are in a share of the lead at 11 under with a couple of holes to play. McIlroy held the lead at 11 under until Rose fired a 20-foot putt for birdie on the final hole to tie things up.
Got a chance. Oh, wow, what a putt. Justin Rose at the 72nd.
Unbelievable. Audio thanks to Fox. Jason Day's the best of the Aussies at 6 under, putting him in outright 8th. Well, Port Adelaide's players will recover today following last night's sensational 30-point win against Hawthorn at Adelaide Oval. The Power have now won 2 games for the season, but will be sweating on the fitness of defender Miles Bergman after he copped a knock to the knee during the game. There were 2 other games to complete the round yesterday. GWS 28-point winners against St Kilda, while Fremantle won the early game against Richmond by 61 points. Aussie Oscar Piastri has led from start to finish to claim the Bahrain Grand Prix ahead of George Russell and Lando Norris. Fellow Aussie Jack Doohan finished back in 14th. To soccer, Manchester City says it's not fearing the worst after Matilda star Mary Fowler suffered a knee injury in their Women's FA Cup semi-final. Meantime, on the men's side of things, Liverpool had a 2-1 win against West Ham to move 13 points clear at the top of the table. Newcastle is up to 4th following a 4-1 rout of Manchester United. Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham lost to Wolverhampton 4-2, while Chelsea and Ipswich drew 2-2. And in some tennis news to finish, Carlos Alcaraz has taken out the Monte Carlo Masters after a 3-set win coming from a set down to beat Lorenzo Musetti. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now, having a look at your drive to work and school this morning. Or not so much school holidays. The road should be better. Let's find out.
Thinking about selling your commercial property? Need advice? Talk to the experts at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
Morning there, Racks and Breakdown free, so not looking too bad. Do have a couple of burst water mains to keep in mind. You find the first one at Hilton today, so Donald Bradford Drive near South Road, just at the intersection there. Also got another one going on at the moment too, Flinders Park Range Road near Holbrooks Road. We are busy at the moment for works at Glenelg, East Brighton Road near Dunbar Terrace, and slow traffic-wise the parade at Norwood heading into the city. Early morning cameras, Adams Road, Craigmore and Hancock Road at Surrey Downs. Panadol helps relieve everyday pain. Not the pain of hearing, are we there yet 100 times, but for the headache it gives you. Panadol's got you covered. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. Incorrect use could be harmful. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And 5AA's forecast.
Hop into Macca's for their classic fruit hot cross bun with warm, melty butter. Available for a limited time.
Mostly sunny, 34 today, then partly cloudy days right through to Thursday. Tops around 32. Right now, 23. 5AA, always Adelaide.
What's on your bucket list? Cruising around the world? Doing a hot lap around Bathurst? Learning how to play drums? Before you plan a bucket list, plan your will with Donlan Lawyers. A will, power of attorney and advanced care directive speak for you when you can't. It means you and your loved ones will be taken care of. Visit donlanlawyers.com. Put it on your bucket list. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
The most frustrating thing about having your car repaired after a collision can be the wait. Sometimes months. At Premier Panel Services, the wait is one thing you won't have to worry about. We've expanded our workshop and our highly skilled team. It means we're better equipped to deliver an outstanding outcome for you and your car. RAA and MTA approved, Premier Panel Services work with most insurance companies. So ask for Premier Panel Services and get back on the road sooner.
So, are you and your friends watching the footy this Easter?
With a house full of friends, indeed. So why not pick up the phone today and give the great people at Chanella's a call to order some magnificent platters to make it perfect.
That's the way to do it. Chanella's have provided hot food and platters here at 5AA for some of our events. Goodings family events, they're a favourite at. We're always blown away with the choice and the rich, full flavours that they are famous for.
So drop into Prospect Road and grab some delicious homemade pre-prepared meals ready to heat and eat. Hot treats like arancini balls, pasta, chicken combo platters, hot seafood platters, sweet platters and so much more. And you know their food is the best. We've been working with Chanella's for years. They've been supplying the Crows too for more than 25 years.
So jump onto the website or order in-store today. Chanella's best and fresh. It's a way of life.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. We're helping life flow.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
It's SA's biggest cover-up, and thousands of pool owners all over South Australia are implicated. Who's at the centre of it? Walco, of course. Put your pool to bed for winter with a Walco Guardian pool cover. Made right here in SA, a Walco Guardian pool cover will preserve your chemicals, keep your water clean, and you won't need to run your pump. The savings are amazing. Join the great cover-up and get a Walco Guardian pool cover. Visit walco.com.au.
Buy a car from Edwardstown Mazda and win the ultimate Bali holiday. Flights, accommodation and activities. Plus, get up to $8,000 in savings across the entire range. Only at Edwardstown Mazda, the #1 destination for Mazda in SA. T's and C's apply.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 minutes after 8, whilst your eyes were on Gather Round this weekend, the City Council lost about a third of its members because the election was ruled null and void for the Central Ward. We're going to be chatting with the Lord Mayor after 8:30 this morning on one of the more extraordinary stories out of the local government in a long, long time.
It's just bizarre. And it raises real issues about the credibility of local government elections. If people are allowed to vote, well, they've basically been here for 10 minutes to study a commerce degree and they've come here from, Kuala Lumpur or the Xinjiang province or, Guadalajara. Who cares where they're from? But they're not Australians.
Well, I think too, and maybe we'll get into this with the Lord Mayor, if you get such a small number of people participating in government at this level, it makes the elections really easy to rig or affect.
Well, this is one of the reasons why, and I don't know where it's at, but the state government under the former Minister Jeff Brock was looking at compulsory voting.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that they're looking at it is that you end up with these perverse situations where there was like a less than 28 vote difference between Alex Hyde, who lost, and Jing Lee, who won. And the district court, sitting as the Court of Disputed Returns, found out that that's exactly how many, the minimum number of overseas students who had their bodgy ballots entered by other people acting on behalf of Jing Lee. So 28 people is enough to potentially pinch one, possibly 4 spots. That's just ridiculous.
Totally ludicrous. That's after 8:30 this morning. And then I think the biggest local announcement of the federal election campaign is coming up at about 8:20 today here on this program, because we will sit at the juncture of good eating and federal politics.
And you have to be part of it, folks.
And you need to be part of it.
This is a collaborative exercise.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That's coming up at 8:20 today. Let's get into Breaking 8, because today, Breaking 8, also a good news story. Feels like everything in the marine industry has been either a political debate or an environmental issue at the moment. We've had the algal bloom, of course, causing havoc here in South Australia. Then in Tasmania, you've got the issue with salmon suddenly becoming a political issue as well, where there's one industry home here in South Australia that has received one hell of an international recognition. Dan Caseman is the CEO of the Australian Southern Bluefin Tuna Industry Association. Dan, good morning to you.
Morning, David and Will. Nice to be here.
So just take us through what our tuna industry has received and why the eyes of the world are on us here.
Yeah, look, it's fantastic to be able to be on the radio today and let you know that the the Australian purseine tuna fishery for southern bluefin tuna has become the world's first southern bluefin tuna fishery to receive Marine Stewardship Council certification.
So what does that actually mean, Dan? It sounds like it's a huge feather in your cap. Is it basically like they're saying this is the best stuff you can get anywhere in the world?
Yeah, so what that means is everything we do has been put under the microscope in terms of our science, our management and our fishing techniques and everything that we do to catch these fish. And an independent certifier, a third-party company, has been through that process and said, we back the way you do it, what you do and how you do it, and we want you to be able to stand ahead of others and say, we do this the best way possible.
So no southern bluefin tuna industry has ever received this certification before, Dan. What is there something particular around the fish or the industry that's made it been a barrier to this sort of level of recognition previously?
Yeah, look, our fish are found all around the Southern Hemisphere and caught by many countries across the Southern Hemisphere. They were overfished for a period of time, and here in Australia, the government listed them under the Environment Protection, Biodiversity and Conservation Act, bit of mouthful. Last year, because of the strong science, the difficult management decisions we've taken, our fish was removed from that threatened listing, which then cleared the pathway for us to then have our fishery assessed.
So what does this mean commercially then?
Look, it means that, one, we can hold our heads up high and say, you know, we are doing everything possible to conserve this fish for future generations, and we catch it sustainably and without impacting either the habitat or other species. But commercially, it also will allow us market access into markets who are becoming incredibly concerned about how fish are caught, where they're sourced from, and you know, we want to be part of that future where people know that they're buying environmentally sustainable fish.
And just finally, to round it out, Dan, when we talk about the Australian bluefin tuna industry, I would guess, are we talking about pretty much, 70-80% of it being in South Australia, or is it that high?
Yeah, close to. Historically, we've caught about 80% of Australia's southern bluefin tuna over in Port Lincoln. A little bit more being caught on the east coast of Australia now, but we're still the majority of Australia's southern bluefin tuna is caught here locally.
Yeah, it's a great news story.
Industry.
Yeah. And absolutely huge part of the economy, but also the sort of cultural and gastronomic history of South Australia. Good on you, Dan. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for your time and thanks for the interest.
It's a good story. Nice to have a good news story about a South Australian industry doing great things on the world stage this morning.
One of my mates was over at York's on the weekend. He said all these lobsters washed up on the beach dead. Just with all the algal bloom stuff, it's pretty scary at the moment. It's nice to be able to get a positive seafood story. Yeah, it was at Kemps Bay, not far from Trowbridge Point. 100 crays washed up dead.
Isn't this is such a city v country story, I reckon. Could you imagine if all these fish life were washing up dead at West Beach or Henley Beach or Grange or Glenelg?
Or
how big a political story this would be?
Suddenly all these parrots start dropping out of the sky dead, landing in the middle of Pulteney Street.
It's a bit out of sight, out of mind for metro politics, I reckon.
Seen a bit of that lately.
Yeah, pretty confronting, I reckon, if you're a tourist area that relies on people wanting to come and swim in the beach, or you're an area that relies on fishing, commercial fishing.
Yeah.
17 after 8, we're going to take a break. Oh, boy. Have we got something for you after the... Are you over the election campaign? Does it need an injection of something? Does it need a bit of pep? Does it need a bit of food? Does it need a bit of something to warm the belly?
This was an idea. When it was put to me last week, I went, yes, I'm doing that for sure.
Well, just have a listen, because 5AA is entering the contest next. When you cover things, they last longer. The same goes for you. Be sun smart and check UV levels daily.
Thanks, Will. Couple of burst waterways to look out for on the driving today. One at Flinders Park Range Road, just before Holbrooks Road, speeds at 40. Another one at Hilton, so Donald Barber Drive near South Road. Slow for works at Hallett Cove, Lonsdale Road near Perry Bar Road, and getting busy at Theberton this morning. Port Road near Phillip Street for works too. Cameras, Torrens Road, Pennington and Trimmer Road at Season. Building or renovating? Make sure your builder is using the inner strength of TrueCore steel, perfectly suited for our Aussie indoor-outdoor lifestyle. Visit truecore.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Rowie and Timmy G.
It's just electric at the moment, and you walk the streets, you'll see people. I went through the mall deliberately. It was the busiest I reckon I've ever seen it.
It's great for the state. You know what it does, footy? It brings people together and it brings a smile. It was a great spectacle last night. There was a laser show before. It honestly felt like a concert.
The 5AA Sports Show.
Adelaide does come alive, and you're right, Timmy. No one does it like us.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Introducing the Caliente by Beechwood Homes, a multi-level masterpiece of design, innovation and style. Inspired by the effortless glamour of Palm Springs in California, it's bathed in natural light through clever architectural design. At its heart, a stunning 6-metre island bench anchors a kitchen that's as beautiful as it is functional. This extraordinary display home will be ready to experience soon in Craigburn Farm. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Walco is making headlines again for SA's biggest cover-up. If you own a pool, it will affect you in the best possible way. For those whose pool is the main feature of their yard, Walco offer a special mesh cover to keep debris and leaves out, while making your pool area look stunning all through winter. If looks matter, join the great cover-up and ask Walco about their stylish new mesh pool covers. Visit walco.com.au.
It's great to have mates to help you out, especially if you have a trailer, but what if they're not available? That's when you need a mate like Matthew from Avis Truck Rental Adelaide.
Matt truly is the world's nicest bloke. He's helped me out quite a few times at Avis Truck Rental Adelaide. Now, Matt's always ready to help. Doesn't matter if you're moving house, picking up something from Mitre 10, or heading back and forth between your house and the Thebarton dump, as was the case with me. Avis Truck Rental Adelaide, they've got you covered. And when you go in, say g'day to Matt and ask him for the FIVEAA fixed price. He'll sort you out.
Or here's an idea. Organise a 12-seater Avis minibus that you can drive on a car licence. You could head to Melbourne for the footy, do your own private little gather round in Melbourne next weekend, or maybe organise one now for next year's gather round.
It does sound like more fun than going to the Thebarton dump, as entertaining as that is. Trust your mate, Matthew. Great guy. Avis Truck Rental Adelaide. He's always keen to help out. Jump online at avis.com.au or call 8241 5200.
Buy a car from Edwardstown Mazda and win the ultimate Bali holiday. Flights, accommodation and activities. Plus, get up to $8,000 in savings across the entire range. Only at Edwardstown Mazda, the #1 destination for Mazda in SA. T's and C's apply.
When you buy FIVEAA Milk Company milk, you're pretty much buying direct from the farmer. We bottle it and send it straight to the supermarket. We deliver it ourselves too. It means we can give SA dairy farmers the best possible price per litre. So when you buy FIVEAA milk, you're supporting SA dairy farmers and their families. Plus, your money stays here in SA. And in these times, that's good for all of us. Look for the local in your supermarket. FIVEAA Milk Company. We're for SA dairy farmers.
Now let's see what's in the swear jar at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens.
Boy, that's a cookie jar.
Busted. My mistake. Let's see. Here it is. Here's one from Renette, an interior designer at Buy Urban for over 20 years. Renette swears to ensure your dream bathroom becomes a wonderful reality. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Wouldn't mind a cookie.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes after 8. We got into the policy elements of the federal election campaign after 7 o'clock. Lots for housing over the weekend. But at no point during that conversation, nor any over the last couple of weeks, have we described the election as delicious. Well, that is about to change.
You better listen, better do what you're told. You haven't even touched your tuna casserole. You better chow down or it's gonna get cold, so eat it. I don't care if you're full.
The democracy sausage is something, a concept that you'll likely be familiar with, but I tell you what you haven't come across yet is the 5AA breakfast democracy sausage. We are designing from scratch David and Will's democracy sausage, and we're getting 20,000 of these made with a view to being able to supply the local community groups that run barbies on election day with a 5AA breakfast sausage.
That's right.
But here we need your help.
This is a collaborative exercise, folks. We are making this sausage together. It's the sausage that's going to unite South Australia with our wonderful food tradition. So what we want to, you need to put your thinking caps on. We want to hear from you now. Either give us a call on 822 300 0000 or ping us a text on the Police Home Care text line. What are we going to put into this sausage? The way it's going to work, and we're going to announce the details of who we're partnering up with tomorrow. But for now, I just say one of the best meat providers in South Australia, one of the best meat producers in South Australia, is going to provide us with enough beef to make 20,000 snags.
We should be clear about something here too.
20,000 sausages.
This is not some outside-the-box creative thinking exercise. This is quite literally what ingredients should go in a sausage. We're not, we're not trying to get you to say, tax cuts. No, what we're saying is...
We're not interested in the policy.
We don't care.
We're interested in the recipe.
That's the word we're looking for.
So if you think about it, I don't know, a lot of our listeners have probably got that great Stephanie Alexander Cook's Companion book. A lot of people call it the Bible of Australian recipes. If you think the way all the ingredients are listed, like beef, it says beef goes with rosemary, red wine, garlic, shallots, jalapenos, cheese. You think about a lot of the things that traditionally go with beef. This is what we want you to do. Put your thinking caps on, and we're going to try to come up with a recipe based on a beef base with the flavourings that we decide on. I've got a few preliminary ideas.
Okay. You're sort of the head chef, and what we need is Adelaide to be your sous chef, essentially.
Well, yeah, I'm calling in a few favours with this one. I'm going to talk to Chris Jarman.
8223 0000 is the number. We've got a $100 Charlesworth Nuts voucher to give away. $100 worth of Charlesworth Nuts. Fresh nuts, mouth-watering chocolates, eye-popping gifts. These three irresistible reasons to shop at Charlesworth Nuts this Easter. If you've got a suggestion for what, name one ingredient that goes in David and Will's democracy sausage. 8223 0000. Get calling right now. This might be your last chance to be part of history, because when you go to do your civic duty on polling day and you see our sausage there, you can know you may have played a role in putting that together, building it from scratch. Let's go to Gawler. Lindy, good morning.
Good morning, boys. Honey.
Honey, okay.
Oh, a little bit of sweetness in the sausage.
Might take us in a bit of an Asian direction. Honey, soy sauce, ginger, garlic.
There you go.
No. Just honey.
Just honey.
Just honey. You want?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Lindy.
Lindy's a purist.
Yep. Honey sausage.
A minimalist.
Intriguing.
Beef and honey.
Mike, good morning. What's going in the David and Will's democracy sausage?
All right, let's make it big, let's make it great, but let's not celebrate the Trump hairstyle. Let's put pickle powder.
All right, Michael. Thank you. Stacey, good morning. What's going in the snag?
Good morning. I love steak with mushrooms, so I definitely put some mushrooms in that.
That's a good idea. Or some mushroom sauce. That could work.
Mushroom
Porcini
flavouring.
mushroom.
Anne and Newton, what's going in the sausage?
Pine nuts are going in my sausages.
Oh, now, yes, pine nut. Pine nuts are good in a sausage.
Beautiful.
Texture.
They're a bit exy. Enough pine nuts for 20,000 sausages. We might need to get a bigger budget for this one.
Wouldn't it be in the spirit of this election campaign if our democracy sausage sent everyone broke?
Yeah, that's right. We spent $10 billion on pine nuts.
Michelle in Collinswood, what's going in the democracy sausage?
Well, there's nothing better than a good piece of steak with red wine. With all of our amazing South Australian red wine, who wouldn't think that's the best ingredient?
Yeah,
sausage.
I'm with you. I reckon that's a great call.
I like that. Alf in Broadview, good morning.
Good morning, gents. Smoky paprika.
Oh, yes. Yes. Smoky paprika. I'm just going to start racing through these because all of Adelaide, as you understand, wants to be part of putting ingredients in the breakfast sausage. Louise, good morning.
Good morning. I think we should stick to our grassroots and have some Vegemite in there.
Okay, Vegemite in the democracy sausage. Thank you, Louise. Fred, what's going in?
I reckon it should be mushrooms because it's a political thing about anything that grows in bullshit must be mushrooms.
Fed poop and kept in the dark. Thank you, Fred. Vinny, good morning.
Hot chili for the greens.
Johnny Loberthal suggested that.
Yeah.
Get all of the ingredients from Chili Mojo. I don't want to make it too spicy because a lot of people would just say,
it's not democratic then, is it?
No, it needs to be an inclusive sausage. It can't be like a Texan hot link jam with jalapenos.
You're right. Tyson, good morning.
Good morning, boys. A bit of stout.
Oh, yes. You know, I was reading a recipe yesterday that had stout in it. And I've got a bit of I was even thinking like pale ale or something, but a Cooper's stout, that would help
Stout
you make
and red wine. People are going to blow over the limit by eating this sausage. Good morning to you, Ryan.
Yes, how you going there, boys? I just wanted to put chorizo in the sausage, and because mostly I wanted to find out how many times David could say the word chorizo.
Go, give us one.
Chorizo. There we go.
That's the double sausage, isn't it?
Chorizo's normally pork. Though you can do a beef version, but I think the Spaniards make it with pork.
Luke and Craigmore, what's going in the 5AA breakfast sausage?
Smoked pork fat. You've got to get that juices flowing.
Yeah, need plenty of fat.
Sounds like Luke's in the know, I reckon. That sounds like a...
I think 80-20 is the normal fat to lean ratio in a good snag. Sometimes even 70-30.
Should we make clear from the start this is not going to be part of a health conscious...
hell no.
Not in the spirit of 5AA breakfast to do a weight loss sausage.
No.
This is a weight gain sausage.
This is the sausage you won't hear about on our Sunday wellness program.
No. His sausage will be so good it'll take years off your life. Greg, good morning to you.
How you going?
Good, Greg.
Yeah. I reckon mace is the key ingredient.
Mace.
Mace.
Greg, you're
Not
a butcher too, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Now, isn't mace the husk on the outside of nutmeg?
Sure is. Yeah.
Hey, Greg, as a butcher, where do you think we could possibly go wrong making our own sausage? Like, what are the pitfalls?
Too much fat.
Too much fat. Okay.
Yeah. You only need 15% fat.
Only 15?
Yes.
So I was way over before.
Well, I reckon, personally. Yeah.
All right.
Do you reckon less is more too, Greg, when it comes to the flavourings with a snag?
What's that, sorry?
Less is more. You don't want to put too many flavourings in, do you?
No, mace is 1 gram per kilo of finished weight.
Isn't mace in the French, what's it called, quatre épices, the 4 spices, their mix that they use for, like, Lyonnaise sausage?
Oh, that's beyond me, mate.
Hey, Greg, thanks for calling in with your expertise. We appreciate that. Good to hear from a butcher. Good to hear from all our listeners too.
Nice.
All of those have been written down, all those suggestions. Now, when David gets in the kitchen with our sausage makers extraordinaire, we're going to come up with something that is going to be a true delight and will change democracy in this country.
My big fear, though, are we going to have to tie them off? Have you ever tried to do that?
No, I haven't.
You'd look like that day you were running around with a ribbon on the 4th floor, mate.
Yeah, that doesn't...
Except this time you'd be covered in meat.
I don't ever want to relive that day, meat or otherwise. What a chilling mental picture you just painted. Anne in Newton, you've got the $100 worth of Charlesworth coming your way, the $100 voucher. Big thanks to the great people at Charlesworth. Make sure you get in there this week. Fresh nuts, mouth-watering chocolates and eye-popping gifts. That's where you need to shop for this Easter.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 34 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Matthew Pantelis.
For the best price, quality and same-day service, trust Complete Windscreens. RAA approved, Main North Road, Prospect.
The Premier says South Australia is holding out for the right deal with the AFL about extending gather round. There's been talk of holding multiple gather rounds during the season from 2027. But Peter Malinauskas has told David and Will, we won't pay unless it's exclusive.
It would change the nature of the event so demonstrably that would invite very different considerations from the state government, particularly when it comes to the departure of any fee from the taxpayer. But let's just wait and see how it plays out. I think we've got some time to do this. I'm more concentrated on getting the right outcome than a quick outcome.
Fire Corps investigators will spend the morning at Elizabeth Park after an early morning blaze. Nicole Bradley from the MFS says they were called to Inner Street at 5:30.
Firefighters and breathing apparatus located a fire in the front bedroom of the property, extinguishing it within 15 minutes. Fire investigators will be attending the scene later today to determine the cause and damage.
Both major political parties are spending big to grab voter attention, but a new opinion poll shows a hung parliament still looms. More from Federal Politics editor Michael Packy.
As we hit the halfway mark of the election campaign, both Labor and the Coalition have splashed an extra $24 billion on housing and tax measures. The latest news poll shows most voters believe Labor will win more seats than the Coalition, but not enough for Anthony Albanese to govern in his own right. The survey shows the Coalition's primary vote has slipped and Mr Albanese holds a commanding lead over opposition leader Peter Dutton as preferred Prime Minister. On a two-party basis, Labor is 4 points ahead of the Coalition, but that may still not be enough to win majority government.
New research, though, finding Australians are living a happy retirement, but for those on the cusp of retiring, the picture far less certain. 76% of pre-retirees surveyed say cost of living pressures mean they're less confident in having enough money for retirement. That's up from 70% a year ago. More than a third of women say they're extremely worried they'll outlive their savings. Customer Chief Executive at Challenger, Mandy Mannix, says rising costs and a lack of knowledge about retirement options is adding to uncertainty.
Older Australians are really worried about cost of living. 72% of them are saying it has an impact on their confidence. 2 in 5, so that's over 2 million Australians above 60, are ranking running out of money as one of their top 3 concerns.
Police want a man who helped a girl who'd been assaulted at the Alberton railway station last Tuesday afternoon to get in touch. The girl got off the train at 3:45 and was approached by a man who allegedly assaulted her before walking away. The 22-year-old from Salisbury North was arrested, but police want to find the man who stopped to help the girl and are urging him to contact police. He's described as being in his 40s to 50s with short grey hair. Researchers say pregnant drivers don't have enough information on the correct placement of seatbelts. A survey found just 13% of respondents had been told about the importance of wearing the restraint properly. Monash Uni Associate Professor Sian Coppell says more education is key.
We want to make sure that all pregnant occupants understand that they not only need to wear their seatbelt, but they need to wear it correctly. We'd like to see some of this information incorporated into the normal prenatal care.
At least 34 people have been killed in Russian strikes in Ukraine, the attack the deadliest on civilians this year. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is accusing Russia of ignoring a US ceasefire proposal. And good or bad news, depending on whether you love him or hate him, but the White House physician says Donald Trump has passed his annual health check with flying colours, according to the official report. The president's frequent victories in golf events and press availability is evidence of his top-notch physical condition. The doctor also saying Mr. Trump displays excellent cognitive health. Turning to 5AA News.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Well, Tom Wren, the president might have golf victories. How's Rory McIlroy doing?
Oh, my goodness, pants. There could not be any more drama if you tried at the US Masters at Augusta with Rory McIlroy, that man you talk about, blowing a chance to claim his first ever green jacket. Now, he led by a shot on the final hole, but he's just missed a 5-footer for par to hold on, meaning he finished in a tie with Englishman Justin Rose.
Going to a playoff.
After that disappointment, will he be able to regroup, reset?
Audio thanks to Fox. I can tell you both players have just teed off and they're both on the fairway. Unbelievable. Aussie Jason Day finished at 5 under. He was 6 shots back in a tie for 8th. Let's get to football. Port Adelaide has completed gather round with a resounding 30-point win against Hawthorn. Captain Connor Rosie was moved to defence and was one of the best players on the ground with 28 touches and a couple of goals. He says the idea was planted earlier in the week.
Yeah, Kari actually threw up the idea early in the week and I was pretty open to it, to be honest. I don't really care where I play. It's just whatever's best for our game style. And
2 other games yesterday. GWS 28-point winners against St Kilda, while it was Fremantle by 61 points over Richmond. Oscar Piastri is keeping his feet firmly on the ground after picking his second win of the Formula One season in Bahrain. The Aussie's now just 3 points off the lead in the driver standings after 4 races. George Russell finished last night's race in second. Lando Norris was third. And plenty of EPL action again overnight. Liverpool putting one hand on the trophy with a 2-1 win against Ipswich. Make that West Ham. That moves them 13 points clear. At the top of the table, Newcastle belted Man United, meantime 4-1. Wolverhampton had a 4-2 win against Liverpool, while it was Chelsea and Ipswich who drew 2-2. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA Traffic.
Thinking about selling your commercial property? Need advice? Talk to the experts at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
Elvis, what remains to look out for? One at Flinders Park Range Road, just before Holbrooks Road, speeds at 40. Another burst at Hilton, South Donald Bradford Drive near South Road. Slow for works at Glenelg East, Brighton Road near Dunbar Terrace, and getting busy at Theberton for works Port Road near Phillip Street. Cameras, Trimmer Parade, Season and Port Road at Cheltenham. CMI Toyota is SA's #1 telling Toyota dealer and the best place to get your car serviced. Book online at cmitoyota.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
Hop into Macca's for their classic fruit hot cross bun with warm, melty butter. Available for a limited time.
Mostly sunny and 34 today, then partly cloudy days through to Thursday. Temps around 32. Right now, it's 26. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Feel good health catch on with Bupa. Get up to 12 weeks free when you join Bupa directly on eligible products by April 23rd. T's and C's apply. New members only. For award-winning health insurance, search Bupa 12 weeks free today.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Build like a brick house. Basic Trailers make quality trailers of all sizes here in Adelaide. Made with Australian steel, you get 12 months warranty and factory direct pricing across SA. Visit basictrailers.com.au. Basic Trailers. Basically better.
Right Price, Adelaide's best in heating and cooling, has risen to new heights. Literally, Right Price are now your roofing people too. Same exceptional service, value and quality. From total roof replacement, including tiled roof installation, to tile roof repairs, cleaning and painting. And for peace of mind, a rock-solid quote. So the only surprise you'll get is how magnificent your roof and home looks. Do it right. Visit rightpriceroofing.com.au.
You can get your roof right at Right Price.
Now, this Easter, enjoy delicious fruity hot cross buns, now available at McCafe.
Oh, look at that. Prop
I've got
in
the
hand.
McCafe cup.
I had a prop, but I've already drunk it because I think McCafe coffee is sensational.
What about that? It's one of the best sounds in the world.
Yeah.
The rustling of the brown McDonald's bag revealing the hot cross bun.
Only means good times are ahead. McDonald's have launched their special Easter treat, classic fruity hot cross buns, perfectly toasted, served with warm, melted butter.
Yum. Pair your fruity hot cross bun with an expertly brewed barista-made coffee made with sustainably sourced 100% Arabica beans. Coffee from McCafe is smooth, rich and comes with alternative milk options like oat, almond, soy and lactose-free if you're into that kind of thing.
Oh, hot cross buns and barista-made coffee without even leaving the car. Not bad at all.
No, order today via drive-through, McDelivery, in-store or skip the queue by ordering ahead on the My Macca's app. McCafe fruity hot cross buns are available for a limited time only at participating locations.
G'day, it's Ben from BJ Energy. I'm in the solar and battery industry. At BJ Energy, if you ask for a battery but it works out that you don't need one, we'll be fully transparent and advise against it. It's a very flooded market which has opened up the doors to, I guess, a lot of cheap sales companies and cowboys out there. We come in from the opposite angle to that. We'll design each system specific for that person as opposed to just having an off-the-shelf package. So get in touch with us at bjenergy.com.au. That's bjenergy.com.au.
This station endorses the Commercial Radio Codes of Practice. We are regulated by this code, which covers live hosted entertainment, news and current affairs, advertising, the promotion of gambling during live sports, Australian music quotas, and material not suitable for broadcast. The Code of Practice has been registered by the Australian Communications and Media Authority and is currently being reviewed. To access the code and to provide your feedback, visit cra.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
18 minutes to 9. We're going to get a Masters update from Tom Wren very shortly. He's currently in a glass case of emotion watching Rory McIlroy's final round. Oh, my goodness. No one will describe better the theatre of the final round at Augusta than Tom Wren very, very shortly.
As we were saying earlier in the program, Friday of last week, the Adelaide City Council was rocked by this bombshell district court ruling that the election of 4 of its 12 councillors at the last City Council elections 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, were compromised. This involved the overseas student scandal where a bunch of people, at least 24, were found to have had their ballot papers lodged and filled in without their knowledge or consent. We have the Lord Mayor, Dr. Jane Lomax-Smith, on the line now. Lord Mayor, thank you for your time. Obviously, none of this is a reflection on you. It sort of came out of the blue with the allegations emerging after the City Council elections. What does it mean? Do all 4 of the councillors have to stand aside?
They do indeed. I mean, the biggest problem is it's taken so long. I mean, it was a scandal in itself, but the amount of time it's consumed, and we're talking about 2.5 years, is also difficult because we're actually within 2 years of the next election. So that it means that those people in the ward, the 4 councillors, their positions have been voided, as they say. But we don't need to worry too much because the Local Government Act is, it might be boring reading, but it has a clause for every eventuality. I mean, all the processes are completely regulated and we know exactly what to do. We've still got 8 councillors. And someone said to me this morning they thought 8 was more than enough. But anyway, we had 12 before, we've got 8 now, and we can carry on business as normal. But,
so the council still keeps operating. The by-elections, you would think, will have to be held reasonably swiftly. Do you know whether the same thing conceivably could still happen again, though? Like, are overseas students, they'll still be allowed to vote at the next election, will they not? Because that state law hasn't passed yet.
Well, regrettably, there's no legislation in place, and I think that anyone reasonable would suggest that it is a pretty weird ruling that you can be in the country for 30 days and then vote. I think that it means you can get backpackers and random tourists on the voting roll. It's preposterous to even think they have an interest. I'm a bit ambivalent about foreigners, to be honest. I mean, I'm a foreigner, but I didn't vote until I was here for 10 years. And my view is that if you are a multi-billionaire, you come into Adelaide, you buy a big building, you build up a business, you create wealth, you're paying rates, and it's actually pretty fair that you have a say in how the city council operates. So I'm actually one of those people who thinks that maybe if you have a real interest and you're a real resident, or you've been here for a long time, or you've created wealth, or you own property, you pay your rates, then maybe that is, in my book, a reason to vote, because our whole local government system is about a property franchise. The ownership of property forces you to pay rates, and actually voting is not unreasonable in those circumstances.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. So how is the council going to weed out questionable enrolments, though? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the council's responsible for checking and certifying what's called the supplemental roll, which is how these people make it onto the voters' roll. How are you going to stop that from happening?
Well, I think it's a big wake-up call for us all. The EXA's ruling went out in a press release on Friday, and they have said the roll will close at the end of May. That means we've got till the end of May to clean, flush and refresh. My experience from being a local MP was that there's a massive churn in the city of even residents, and the state roll is significantly different to what it was 3 years ago, just because people, 60% of our accommodation's rental, so there's a lot of coming and going. So the residential roll, the EXA roll is different, and certainly the council roll is different because we've got more genuine residents in the city, more buildings have been built. There have been a change in the number of businesses. Some have come, some have gone. So what we'll be doing is cleansing the roll. They do that for every election. One of the anomalies is that they write, they confirm, and they do what they can. But I suspect this wake-up call is enough for us to be a lot more careful. The staff will be a lot more diligent in checking the signatures. And I suspect that may be difficult in some ways, because some of the backpackers or students or whatever may have difficult signatures. They may not be normal alphabetical signatures for us to interpret, but it will require a lot more diligence, and I think it's going to be a wake-up call. We'll have to sort it out this time.
Just finally, Lord Mayor, whether people like this or not, I know my views, I'm a bit hostile to the idea, but is the best way to fix this in future to make voting compulsory, in your view, in local government elections? Because if it were, we wouldn't have this situation where 24 odd votes can decide the fate of 4 councillors.
Well, actually, I think you're spot on. I've always thought that compulsory voting is a good thing. Not to mention, I thought that voting in person, I think there's a big risk when you've got a multi-storey building, with 500 people. Having the voting slips lying in the foyer on the floor is clearly a higher risk option than making people walk to the voting booth. The problem with having compulsory voting, of course, is that it will become much more organised. It's likely to become political. Places like Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, they have politicised local government. They have Labor Party, Liberal Party, One Nation. Every man and their dog is out there because they see it as an entry point for would-be politicians, and we already get a bit of that, of course. But the issue would be systematised and will be controlled by the big end of politics, and I think that would be a loss for South Australia. So I'm not so keen on that. I think it's about local interest, and I don't think major parties really are the best people to be in charge of, say, the Adelaide Parklands. But I would say that, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you would. We wouldn't agree with you either. Hey, good on you, Lord Mayor. I'm sure we'll talk about this again soon. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Okie dokie. Goodbye.
All right, we're going to check traffic. In a moment, you're going to hear about...
I think Multiplex should be in charge of the Parklands. As a joke.
In a moment, we're going to hear from Tom Brand, who's been watching what has been one remarkable conclusion to the Masters that's just taken place. The other thing that's happening as we've been chatting with Jane Lomax-Smith, just been having a bit of a listen into the Prime Minister's press conference here in Adelaide with the Premier of South Australia, at which he's announced a potential big story for SA. That's going to come up in just a moment. First, though, let's check traffic. Selling your commercial property for top dollar is made easier with the team at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
Thanks, Will. At North Adelaide, a crash. War Memorial Drive near Park Terrace. Flitters Park, burst Watermain, Grange Road just before Holbrooks Road, speeds at 40. And Hilton burst Watermain, so Thornton Bradford Drive near South Road, speeds at 25. Busy at the moment at Darlington for works. Main South Road near Brookside Road with the camera. Main North Road at Jeps Cross. Stop speeding, or South Australia Police will stop you with more speed guns and more road safety cameras. Think road safety. A message from the Government of South Australia. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the Lynn Andrews team have made it easy for landlords to manage residential and commercial property. From single homes to multiple commercial holdings, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge. How to do it safely and properly, matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help you. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
50 scorching summers. 50 freezing winters. And only one Morford Air helped us through it all. Adelaide's own homegrown family air conditioning company, Morford Air, has kept South Australians cool and warm for over 50 years. That's half a century of comfort. So when it's too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air. morfordair.com.au.
Morford Air.
Now, this is quite the cover-up, and Walco is at the centre of it. It's the good kind of cover-up because it will save you time and money too. If you haven't already got your SA-made Walco Guardian pool cover ready to go, well, now's the time to get in touch with Steve and the team at Walco.
The locally made Walco Guardian pool cover will preserve your chemicals, keep your water clean, and you won't need to run your pump all winter.
And now Walco have gone one better with their stylish new mesh cover. This cover is perfect if your pool is the main focus of your yard, and it needs to look amazing all year round. It never sags, unlike some of us, unfortunately.
That's right. So if looks matter, join the great cover-up and ask Walco about their stylish new mesh pool covers. Visit walco.com.au.
Got something big to budge? Budget with Budget. Little trucks, big trucks. You can do it all in a budget rental truck. Get exactly what you need and at a great price too. So remember, whatever you've got to budget with a budget rental truck. Budget car and truck rental. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
Budget with a budget rent-a truck. It's quick and cheap. Well, half your luck when you budget with a budget rent-a truck.
Right now, Suzuki in the City is clearing Suzuki Vitara demos starting from $24,888 with the biggest range of colours to choose from and the biggest savings. Only at Suzuki in the City. T's and C's apply.
Get your wheels from Suzuki in the City.
When you're gone, who gets the things most precious to you? Like your grandfather's war medals or your mother's cherished piano that was passed down to you. If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, Donlan Lawyers will give effect to your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour. donlanlawyers.com.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 minutes to 9. A remarkable sports story just played out at Augusta National in the United States at the Masters, the final round. Tom Wren in that ad break just described it as the wildest 90 minutes of golf he's ever seen. So we're going to get into that very, very shortly. Whilst we were chatting with the Lord Mayor, Jane Lomax-Smith, the Prime Minister's been conducting a press conference with the Premier of South Australia, Peter Malinauskas, who joined us a little bit earlier at Prospect Corner on the corner of Churchill Road and Regency Road. He's spruiking his housing policy that we jumped into at 7 o'clock this morning. If you want to listen back to that conversation, you can go back on the podcast. But with this court area here, he did talk about bidding on this major event if the Labor government is re-elected.
The fact is that holding a climate change conference internationally produces revenue as well. It's an economic boost for wherever it's held. We do have the bid in. It will be determined at the climate change conference later this year if we are re-elected. If Peter Dutton is elected, you can see him copying policies from other jurisdictions and pulling out of Paris. We know a whole lot of their mob are still in climate denial.
So that's COP31, which the Premier has said would make Gather Round look like, it would look like some sort of minor provincial event, given the size and scale of
I reckon the people of South Australia would be more worried about losing Gather Round than not getting a climate change conference.
But if our interest is in it, and look, I'm not exactly going to be standing there with a placard celebrating COP31, but if it pumps money into the state, who cares?
Yeah.
Sort of my position on it. And it'd be the biggest event of its kind. Well, it's the biggest event that has ever come to South Australia. So I don't
know. Maybe Chris Bowen can be the keynote speaker and explain how everybody's got $275 of their power bills. I just think the whole thing's a joke. Yeah,
but if it makes money for the state, it's not a bad thing.
No.
I don't care if the international feather duster, but who cares? They spend money.
So what you're saying is like if it was the World Snooker Championships or whatever.
I don't care if it's the World Feather, the celebrated Federated Brotherhood of Feather Duster owners. Good on them.
Surely there's a point at which we say, no, we're not, like an Al-Qaeda convention or something.
Okay, look, if they're actually a terrorist group, I will draw the line there.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like a really bad terrorist group.
But I don't care if you...
What you're saying is if the Basques wanted to have an ETA convention here, you might say, all right, they're not too bad.
But look, if you're COP31 or maybe you're an international arms dealer, I'm all for it. Now, I just want to even things out for everybody listening. Now, Tom Wren, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will.
Have you caught your breath?
Mate. Oh, my goodness. What have we just seen? We have to go to Augusta one year, boys. So just to paint the backstory, Rory McIlroy, the face of the PGA, he's won 4 majors in his life, but he hasn't won one for 11 years. Everyone's saying he's the serial choker. He'll never win the career slam, and the last one he had to win was this one, Augusta. 4-shot lead, 6 holes to play. You're almost unbackable. Almost can't lose. 2 par 5s to come. 3rd shot, 80 yards out, simple sand wedge, water.
Oh, no.
Double bogey. Justin Rose starts coming from the clouds. Englishman. Rose goes 1 shot clear. McIlroy gets it back square. Rose goes clear again. McIlroy gets it back. McIlroy goes a shot clear. 5-foot putt to win on the last hole. Pushes it. Misses it. Goes to a playoff. Rose, 15-footer for birdie. Misses it. McIlroy, 4-footer to win it. Wins it. It's just, this is how he wrapped it up, and the scenes are just chaotic.
The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
Jim Nance may be one of the best commentators going around. Just unbelievable scenes. He is...
face down on the green crying.
Overcome with emotion. He almost lost it, but he somehow held on. Got a feel for Justin Rose. He's been a playoff before in 2017. Lost to Sergio Garcia. Probably won't get another chance like that again. He was amazing today. He shot 6 under. He would have been...
Imagine the mental toughness. So this has been your nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
And it plays out. You get to and then you got a hole apart. Like there's
Rose,
no mentally more torturous sport on earth than golf.
Well, when Rose played his 2nd shot first on the playoff hole and he put it within 15 feet, and I just went, Rory, he's done here. Because when he needed par in regulation, he had a similar shot and he put it in the bunker, and that's why he had the bogey. So then he's gone up and he put it within 3-4 feet. It's one of the most... He's played some of the best and some of the worst golf I've seen in the last hour and a half, and the crowd is just screaming. Like, they are screaming over there every shot.
I haven't seen scenes like this at a golf course since you got that hole-in-one at Tea Tree Gully, mate.
Exactly. Oh, my goodness. It's... Look, a lot of people don't like Rory. A lot of people love him. It depends on what side of the divide, but either way, you got to tip your hat. It was an amazing result, just phenomenal.
Yeah, good on you, Rennie.
Thanks,
Excellent.
boys.
All right, you can get some sleep finally. Not yet, you've got to go to the 9 o'clock news, but after that you can get some sleep. That's all from us. Graham Goodings is coming up in just a moment, and we'll be back tomorrow morning from 6.
Coming up next on 5AA.